You are about to witness history in the making.
This is only really weird now because I'm actually on a podcast. Don't know what these are about. Anyway, hi, welcome to Pop Culture Gamers, show number 112. And this does seem really weird because it's three of us now, and I don't even know much about this. But I'll let Haydn actually say more about it. How you doing?
I'm doing thanks, Steve. I should have said hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Pop Culture Gamers podcast.
No, I'm doing completely different time. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just back to. I mean, I've got this show to do. Obviously, I've got a Wrong Real one coming up in April, which I haven't even been dealt with yet. But anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I can talk. I'm breathing well. How are you guys doing? Plus, mystery guest that everyone knows who's here.
Yeah, we've got Marc here with us again. Welcome, Marc.
Thank you, Haydn. Hello, good to be back.
It's all weird, isn't it?
How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, I'm fine. So how are you all doing anyway, more pertinently first?
Well, I'm off until the 12th.
Yeah, leave till the pub's open on the 12th, outside.
Yeah, as long as you get your passport.
Well.
My arm's not ache anymore. It's taken that long. You know that?
Wow. No, I'm doing good. Busy week outside. The weather's been good down here, so yeah, I've been in the garden for a lot of this week, and finally back to work, which has been odd and sort of takes some getting used to, getting back into it, but quite good to be back, to be honest.
Must be difficult though, from a restaurant point of view, isn't it?
Yeah, it was all, and also the thing is, we never really did much in the way of takeaway before. And at the moment, that's all we're doing. So
okay.
It's all we're allowed to do. So it's an adjustment, especially as I haven't been there for 4 months pretty much. So yeah, it's good though. It's good to be back.
It's funny from your point of view. It's really weird because from me and Mrs. were watching TV last night, and something came on there where people were eating in the restaurant. So I said to her, "I miss going out for a meal. We haven't done that for about." I can't remember the last time we went out.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And it'd be nice to actually go out and do that. Obviously it won't be straight away, maybe, but
just seeing friends and being able to sit down and have something to eat.
Gordon Ramsay's got a few restaurants open. I know that. Follow him on Instagram. So they've been getting a lot of restaurants ready.
Yeah, we all are, but we're all ready.
Yeah,
it's just a case of doing a bit more, prep for opening up. But I think that's the other thing at work is we have no outdoor space. So come the 12th, when the pub gardens will open, that isn't really going to affect us.
No,
we'll have to wait until May.
Because you don't have any verandas or patios that you can use.
We're quite big inside.
So where are you? It's in Brighton, isn't it?
No, Arundel, a place called Arundel, where there's a castle right opposite. Sort of behind, we've got I said to Haydn last week, if you walk down the high street in Arundel, you could be in a Disney movie. It looks very historic. Everything is hundreds, if not thousands of years old. Right, yeah. It's about, where the River Arun runs through the town, and we're about just a few miles from the sea in West Sussex.
Yeah, Arundel rings a bell, but funny enough.
Not to be confused with Frozen.
No, do you know what? I know what you're talking about there. Actually, a bit later, I'll have a look out for your restaurant.
Yeah, do it. It's we're quite when we're open and everything's normal. We are very busy.
Cool. What about you, Haydn? So what you been up to? You been doing, mate?
No, I've just been looking for a set of wireless headphones, and thanks to everybody, including yourself, Steve, for some of the suggestions that you put forward.
So how did that work now? Because now I've seen from 70 quid to 199, that's suddenly a big jump, isn't it?
Well, no, because I paid 139.
Right.
So I got basically my thought was I want a new set of headphones. I thought I'll get a cheaper pair to start off with, just to listen to audiobooks, and then maybe look to upgrade towards the end of the year. And I ordered a pair, got them delivered. They were like HPOW H7 Bluetooth headphones, and they were supposed to be over ear. Well, the cups were so small that by the time that I put them on my ear, they were on-ear headphones rather than over-ear.
They're nowhere near closed up at all.
No, couldn't fit my ears in them, and I don't have massive ears. I'm not like Dumbo or anything like that, although I'm sure that one or two people would probably say differently. However, when I got them, they didn't feel right. The padding was supposed to be soft, and it felt like it was putting 2 bricks on my ears. So I thought, no, I'll send those back, which is a shame because technically, if you looked at everything else, and they had over 20,000 reviews, and everybody was raving about them. And I'm sure that they won't have all have been, they were supposed to be verified Amazon purchases, sort of thing. But I just didn't like them, so I thought, well, put out on Facebook, looked at a few different headphones that people are suggesting, and when I was doing a search, I came across the Bose ones, and I thought, I've always fancied a set of Bose headphones. And then there were...
Is that more just for the name, though? Or is that...
Well, because I know they do good sound quality.
They are good, yeah. A friend of mine's got some.
It's very difficult. I mean, the set I told you about is the ones I'm using here, which I use for plugging into the amp.
But they're wired, aren't they?
Yeah, they're one hell of a long lead, though.
I was specifically looking for wireless.
Yeah.
Which is why I went for the Bose ones. And there were $199 normally, down to $139. So I thought, might as well get them.
Yeah,
but
it's great, but I was saying, I thought for audiobooks, it doesn't matter what quality you got, you're hearing a voice only, unless it's going to be a radio drama audiobook, which would be different altogether.
Well, yeah, I do listen to that sort of stuff as well. But, obviously I am going to listen to music on them as well. So,
do they have a mic?
Yes.
Yeah,
the full set. The only thing that they don't have is that they don't have noise reduction, but I'm not particularly that fussed.
No noise cancelling.
No.
That's quite surprising for Bose, though.
Yeah.
But they normally advertise for that, aren't they? They have a click of a switch just to be able to shut them down so they're a bit more,
Yeah, normally, but...
I mean, I'll talk about the Xbox ones later, but just put those on just quickly, and you do, because they cover your ears completely, but you do get a slight cancellation of what's around you,
Yeah, but there's a difference between the actual noise cancelling and ones that are just really good seal. Because
I used to have a Sony set of noise cancelling ones I used to use, and they eventually just broke and fell apart, unfortunately.
You're talking about noise cancelling and noise isolation, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the seal and that, these headphones I've got on that you guys can see now, these are HyperX. They're not noise cancelling, but when I put them on, they seal out a lot of the outside noise. But the noise cancelling play a negative sound wave to the outside to nullify the sound. Yeah, that's noise cancelling technology.
And because they're closed cup anyway, that for me, for example, my missus said I talk louder when I got them on because I think maybe it's what you do, but
you don't get on with earphones, Haydn, like earbuds.
Well, I've got 2 sets of earbuds. I've still got my iPods, but they have ceased working, and you can't get them fixed.
Really?
Basically it's £75 per iPod earbud to
That's
get fixed.
The original AirPods.
Yeah, the original AirPods. They just don't fix them. They basically just swap them, and you basically buy a new one.
Yeah.
And at that amount of money, I just thought, well,
that's crazy.
No, and I was just, because the AirPods I had, I was really happy with them at first, but then I started all the time dropping the left ear, and it just kept dropping, even if it was fully charged. And what I ended up doing was I tried to resync it, so I made my phone forget the AirPods, and then tried to resync it, and it wouldn't sync. It just would not sync at all. So then I tried draining the battery entirely so that it would sort of like reset itself, which took forever because they do take, they hold a lot of charge, and obviously the cases hold the charge as well. So I had to dissipate the case and dissipate the headphones or the buds, and it still didn't work. So then I went and got some sort of like £20 ones, the 0G, the like iPod lookalikes from Argos, and they're fine, but they're a little bit bigger than the iPod because the AirPods were really, really comfy in my ears. These ones are just a little bit big, and I don't like on ears. So I thought, well, in that case, then I'll go for over ears, and that was when I started looking.
Right.
So
I had AirPods, and my family have all got AirPods, and we've not had any problem with them in terms of working, but they leak a lot of sound massively. And I think that whole design of just a solid plastic piece that goes into your ear is so inflexible, it's just, I don't think it can do anything but leak. Well, there's no movement in it, so it's not
what
like
I'm
a
saying
rubber.
is the angle of the piece that goes in the ear.
Yeah.
Where you can have ones which you can push in to seal to a certain point, they go in further. Those just hang in, I presume, hang on your ear. You look like her out of Star Trek, like everyone does wearing them, and they don't go any further because obviously your ears are different sizes anyway. Yeah,
exactly that. And I found there was always an element of you were kind of worried they were going to fall out as well.
I always thought that, yeah.
Do you know what? I never found that. My AirPods were really, really comfy, never really had much of an issue. And I used to go to the gym and be on, like the bikes and the treadmill, and never had a problem with them falling out. I could shake my head because people used to ask me the same thing. Don't you find that they're going to fall out your ear? And I was like, no, not really. They're fine. Never had a problem with them. But I suppose all depends upon if your ears are just slightly different. You're going to run that risk, aren't you? But they just seem to fit for mine. But these ones I've got are just that little bit bigger. I like that they're only like 20 quid cheap ones. The quality of them's nothing like the AirPods, but they're all right. But I wanted something better. I wanted something that I could. Basically, my idea is that when my wife's watching, say, Yes to the Dress and all of that rubbishy woman stuff that she has on, I could just sort of like lay on the sofa, put my headphones on, and listen to an audiobook, and just, we can be together, but not sort of thing.
Have you bought many audiobooks now? I mean, I've gone back to...
Oh, I've got about 60.
I've gone back for a little bit, subscribing to the Amazon
Audible
one, yeah. And recently, I think I picked up about 3 or 4 books I was interested in having. Stephen King.
Yeah.
What did I get? I've got The Shining. I've got a version of Dracula as well. And also, more for research, but it was easy to use. I've got the whole series of 40 Towers, which is what I'll be doing later with Wrong Reel on that. And what else? There was another BBC. I just went through and bought a load of books because I had a load of credit,
Yeah. So go on.
No, I was going to say, do you get a free credit every month, don't you?
Yes, that's right.
And you can have any book that you like. I'm at the moment, I'm listening to Arthur C. Clarke's Firstborn,
right,
which is the Time Odyssey trilogy. It's the last book in that.
I just purchased a load all of a sudden. So I got the Blackadder, the complete collection, which is something just to
fantastic.
Which is great. That's 14 hours long.
Wow.
For a credit. The Omen. Go on, say again.
No, I was going to say the Blackadder that's every series, is it?
It is everything, and the Christmas episodes as well.
Fantastic.
So that's a good call for that. Yeah, so I picked up The Omen by Delwood Seltzer, which I have read the book. The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty as well. 40 Tales, a complete collection. That's 12 episodes only, but there you go. And the Torchwood collection as well, which is a radio drama. So from that point of view, I do like that version of book. I've picked a few up, and I still recommend Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. If you haven't heard that audio drama, which is the latest version they did with I was going to say, I can't remember the guy's name that was in Passengers now that played the robot waiter at the bar. Both looking very glum at me right now, but
Yeah, I've the ones that I've sort of got on there, things like Douglas Adams. I've got the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, all of them.
yeah.
But I've also got his Hitchhiker's Guide to the Future, which was quite a good documentary that he made, and he's actually inspired me for a podcast that I'm producing for work at the moment. I mean, I've got a few sort of like biographies. I had the IMC3PO, the Inside Story by Anthony Daniels. That was quite good. A few of the Star Wars ones, all the 3001s, the Ramas. Yeah, absolutely loads.
But I think I've gone more towards the audio dramas. So the other one I've got is Alien Out of the Shadows. That's an alien story. And they are basically, without the screen in front of you, you're listening to a production that could be on the screen.
Yeah, I've got Aliens Bug Hunt.
Yeah. And
I'm the same, Steve. I tend to go towards the more dramatised audiobooks as well, or comedy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I still haven't actually, because I was so disappointed with it. I haven't finished Ready Player 2 yet.
I mean, I don't know, Mark, what sort of genres that you're really into, but if you like the zombie genre, there's a really good free podcast that you can download called We're Alive, which is a high-quality radio drama but done as a podcast, and it's about the zombie apocalypse. Really
check
good.
It out.
It is excellent. It's one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to, certainly for an audio drama, but just generally speaking anyway.
It's one medium that I've not really checked for dramas, actually, as podcasts. I tend to go down sort of audiobook route more, but I'll have a look, yeah.
There are loads of them as well. I mean, you'll be talking probably about 30 hours worth of story content.
Wow.
Is that more than The Walking Dead itself, is it? Which is coming to a close, I'm led to believe.
Yes.
Have you seen the cancellation for 2021?
Yeah. No, it was always going to be the last season, was this one.
Yeah, and Supergirl's on there as well.
Thank God for that.
But, I could. Wow. There's not a lot that we got there that is actually being cancelled, but those are the two that stood out. I did tell them that The Crown was being cancelled, but that's only because they're going to catch up.
Do you know, I have to being serious with, what do you call it, Supergirl. That, to me, if it's a bit like an ill farm animal that the farmer needed to take round to the back of the shed and shoot in the head. It's been terrible the last season.
It's not been good, has it?
That's Steve being diplomatic about it. It's been awful. It was nearly as bad as Legend of Tomorrow was last season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not even come back yet, has it? I don't think.
No, and it shouldn't do. I think it has been shot in the head. It should.
There is a new CW TV show that I'm tempted to look at because it reminds me of the one back in the 70s. But they've got a version of Kung Fu. So do you remember the David Carradine show back?
Oh yes.
Well, they've done a retake on that. Same name, but yeah, it might be worth a look at. You never know. It'll beat Batgirl for sure, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. I do have a bit of news about Alan as well.
How is the old
do you? Yeah,
yes, I do. He's doing quite well. He's had a few ops and stuff like that, and I think his eyesight's a bit better. He's hoping to go back to work very shortly.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
He has been back, but then I think he had to stop. I'm not sure whether it was because of COVID or whatever, but he's been through a big journey with this, and we can only imagine, it's immense what he's been through. But he's also doing a bit of running as well. I think with poles, he said, but not, like his ultra marathon a day sort of thing.
Well, probably due to the scenario he's in at the minute, that's probably not possible. I don't know. Yeah.
No, probably not. But hopefully we'll get to hear his Irish tones again.
Good to hear he's doing all right though.
Yeah. I'm hoping. I think I'm hoping to get a Skype call with him this week sometime, and just have a bit of a chin wag, because we've been messaging each other daily for weeks now. So it's nice to be back in contact with him, because We were all worried about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sort of went. Yeah, it was like complete shutdown, wasn't it? So it's like you feel pretty helpless when you know how someone's doing, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's sort of like it really does, make you realise about the fact that we're all friends on on the internet and stuff like that. But I was like, I don't even know where to send him a card.
No.
You know what I mean? Just something, a message, just to say, if you need to talk, we're here, sort of thing. But it's nice that he's improving, and hopefully he'll get back to as near as what he can. After everything. But it's good news that he's certainly getting there now.
Yeah, cool.
Definitely.
Cool. So, I'm not going to say too much, but any questions about me then? What do you want to know?
Well, yeah, come on, what's been up with you then? Because we know that you've been off. I know what's been up with you, but...
Yeah, so what happened was I was doing nights. It was only actually I was doing a night, sleeping on either side. And I got out of the car and I twisted my body, but felt something pull at the back, and carried on working through the night, but the pain got more and more and more. And then on my way home, 4 a.m, and really uncomfortable. And I struggled to get out of the car to get into the house. Really was in a lot of pain. So I thought I just pulled me back, and it's one of those things that we all have at old age. And got in the house and took some painkillers. I stayed up for another couple of hours to see if they would kick in. But I was still in a lot of pain. But what was the big problem for me was I couldn't walk upstairs. Couldn't breathe. I had to sit down in this position to actually breathe at all. So I started sleeping sitting up, which is not comfortable, if you can imagine. And trying to get a doctor's appointment, well, that was the laugh. I spoke to my doctor on a call, said, okay, look, we need to get you to a hospital just to check you out. So I went to a COVID section of the local one in Southampton, actually in Lyndhurst, actually. And they did some checks and said, okay, we need you to have some x-rays and this blah, blah, blah. He didn't make it like it was important. So they gave me a letter, and when Mrs. read the letter, it said, soon as you sort of need to do it now, sort of thing, because I was asking the hospital locally to get an x-ray, and he said, yeah, about a week's time. But that wouldn't have been good, because I don't know whether I'd still be here now if I hadn't been. So basically, when my missus phoned her surgery up just to have a chat about it, and said, I think you need to go now. So I went straight down to A&E, and the bitches kept me in. I didn't come out. I was stuck in a I won't. This is the wrong. Probably jokingly, I was in like a holding cell in these little cubicles in A&E, and you can't go out because of COVID. And because I wasn't breathing very well, I was given all sorts of blood tests, heart rate tests with as well, plastering yourself with the old wires connected to your whole body.
ECGs, sort of
yeah. And they said we need to keep you in, but we can't move you yet until you've had a COVID test. So I then got given a bed at 3:30, 4 in the morning, and I've been up since 5 o'clock, sitting there dealing with it. Obviously the day before, but I get that. It just took a while, and still not really too sure what was going on until I woke up half an hour later with a doctor staring in my face with a shield on, saying that we need to do a CT scan and maybe go into your lung and take a specimen out with a spear in there, don't they? And they'll be able to take it and pull it out. That freaked the living daylights out of me, but they didn't do that, luckily. They just gave me a CT scan, more blood tests, x-rays, and they said, you've got blood clots on your lung, and that was it. They gave me some medication, take it easy, and I came out. It wasn't until a week later that with more investigation I found I got one on each lung. So there's 2 medium-sized blood clots that I've got, which I'm hoping will dissipate in time. In the meantime, I'm on blood thinners, which I've got to be careful of, if you're aware of what they are, and that's basically it at the minute. It was a bit scary thinking about that side of things.
Yeah, I bet.
Presumably it's not warfarin that you're on, it'll be the new substitute for that.
It is, yeah. I can't think what it's called now, but yeah. But he said, when I'm working, if I bang my head, I need to go straight to A&E. I'd have to go in for a CT scan on the head.
Well, if you bang your head, that's probably a sensible thing to do anyway, isn't it?
The point no, what I'm saying is,
yeah,
because of the blood, you could get a blood clot, or your blood could ooze out, like a bruise does. It's a bit more worrying that I'd need to go. So I'm not going to do any sort of heavy work at the moment.
It's much more serious. Sorry.
I was just saying, presumably if you cut yourself seriously.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's because she did know when I did the blood test the other week. Mum said, Your blood is actually, yeah, I could tell. It was oozing out into the capsule that she was taking doing it. But yeah, it's it was. I'm not so bad now, but for a while I was just worried about it, not knowing what the outcome would be.
Yeah, my dad was on blood thinners for, well, all of his retired life because he was a lorry driver and his retirement was falling off the top of a lorry.
Right.
He always did try and make a bit of a drama out of stuff.
Mm.
And he ended up being on warfarin and then transferred to some other stuff right up until, the day that he died. And I know with the warfarin, because it's effectively rat poison, it made his skin go really weird on his arms. And, it's like, it felt like tissue paper over his arm. And the slightest thing and it'd cut and bleed, and it's not nice.
No. Well, with this, I have to carry a card in my wallet explaining what I'm on as well, in case I suppose if I had a traffic accident or something really bad, I don't know.
Do you have to keep getting your blood count measured as well?
No, I just take. I'm on a 1 tablet a day now.
Right.
Which I was on 2, but I've got to go to the PE clinic soon. They'll wait for an appointment, which is and I can't even pronounce it, but it's the embolism that I've got. It's for that. But I was glad that they didn't do another CT scan because I did not like that at all. I don't know if any of you guys experienced things like that, but no, I wasn't keen on that at all. Basically, what they did is where I had on my right side in my elbow, in the crease of the arm, I had the cannula in there. And we got the big tube you have to lay in, and you put your arms behind you, and out of the cannula they inject some liquid that goes around your body.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you want to have a piss because it warms up the whole body, but you don't. That's the effect it gives you. And I was not keen on that at all. And that's the idea that fluid goes through that they can see what's going on. So yeah, all good fun.
It's like one step down from an MRI, isn't it? A CT scan.
I'm not sure which an MRI is now because I've had scans before where I've had to drink like fixed milkshakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they just checked a few things and said we can't see any cancers there and stuff like that as well, which was nice to hear. That's my second experience in the hospital, and I'm not keen on that. Anyone that's in there long term, I pity them on that. I feel for them. But this is only the second time I've actually been in the hospital for something, and the first time being a hernia operation. So. Something I don't like to do. I mean, it's funny, me and Mrs. were talking, we was watching a TV show and this guy in the TV broke his arm and said, I've never actually had a plaster, I've never broken any bones, ever done anything like that, never had plaster cast or anything, So from that, I've been pretty good to stay away from hospitals.
I did when I was a kid, I did, but not as an adult. No, I had a broken arm when I was a kid, but nothing as an adult.
Yeah.
Not in plaster anyway.
No, it's crazy. Anyway, anything else you want to mention before we move on?
Nope.
I could just say that Bethesda is one thing I'm into at the minute, but I'm sure I'm going to talk about Fallout 4 again later. I have finally ordered, because they're back on release, is some soundtracks from Bethesda, which were out of stock for donkeys. So I've got a four vinyl box set for Fallout 4 and a box set for Skyrim coming, and also a single one for Skyrim, which is just the atmosphere. So that is just a single one, which would be interesting. So
is that like animal noises and things like that?
I don't know. I think it's just probably the world. Actually, I should imagine. Actually, just that sort of music. So when you want to relax, just put that on.
I hope that isn't more than about a 7-inch single, really.
It's an album. It's 2 20-minute tracks.
Wow. I do own the soundtrack to Skyrim. Because I think the music's amazing.
It is.
But
that I didn't. I only found that the other night because on Bethesda you just can't get it. It's expensive on eBay. I found the Fallout 4 box set on Amazon, so I picked it up there. And it's Zavi where I found the Skyrim box set. So that's amongst other things I've got ordered them, because I've actually got ordered the Persona soundtrack for the PlayStation game, which is coming in June. But
That's problems.
Well, actually, there's more gaming soundtracks than not. I mean, because it's funny, because the way the world is at the minute, I've only just received my 2 Halloween soundtracks from Rob Zombie, which should have come last year, right? And because they were delayed for so long Waxworks packaged them up, and I got another free mat for my vinyl deck as well with Michael Myers on it. So yeah, all good vinyl and plastic. Anyway, should we move on because we've rattled on for too long? So if we should go straight into gaming this week.
No longer a dream, but a reality.
Okay, so which one of you guys is going to rattle these off then?
Well, shall we all take turns?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first then, Steve? Because it's Xbox and you're Mr. Xbox.
Well, yeah, you never.
Yeah,
I see you. He never pops up. I noticed today actually. It popped up on my screen. He was on the Xbox, even though I was offline and didn't realise it. That's another story.
Yeah, I was catching up on my gamer score. I've got 4,985 this month.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's since the first.
We're
on the
I
fourth.
was going to say, we're 4 days in already.
I know. I'm lagging behind because I've been off. So you know.
Okay, so Xbox back.
I completed 2 games this morning. 1 game then.
Yeah, these are indie games, Mark. Remember, these are not Japanese RPGs.
Excuse me. One of them was an interactive movie one with 4 different endings. That's going to play it 4 times, which I'll be talking about later.
Suffering for the cause.
You will like it, Steve, because you like
got
that.
blurry.
You like
blurry,
that other one.
Mark, Hayden, you got blurry then. That was weird. I thought it was my eyes, my glasses. Anyway, so there's a new list for the Xbox compat games that are playable via the xCloud. Haydn will eventually get the Apple version because they said they were still ready to release that at some point.
It's supposed to be out in the next few months.
Yeah. So the list we have here is Banjo-Kazooie, we've got Banjo-Tooie, Double Dragon Neon, Fable 2, Fallout New Vegas, Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, Gears of War Judgment, Jackpack Refueled with touch controls enabled, Cameo, Perfect Dark 0, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, the 2 Viva Pinata games, one with both touch controls and the TRD version as well. Plenty to get into there if you're using the xCloud. And Mark, are you using it at all or not? Or
I haven't. No, I could, but I don't get on with touch controls at the best of times. To be honest, I find my son's very good at them, but that whole sort of substitute joystick pad on the end sort of corner of the screen, I don't know. I think it's just a case of persevering and getting used to it. I think I could use it.
well,
The more you play, the more.
I use the Razer
Get used
controller,
to it.
which you take around the whole phone, giving you that works a treat. And I sometimes will sit in the lounge when the TV's on, just carry on playing games that way round.
As we were saying last week, though, Steve, that's what the Switch is for.
Yeah, Xbox don't have a Switch.
Yeah, I said that the only Switch you had is a light switch, not a Switch light.
Yeah. It's handy.
That joke was so good we had to say it in 2 weeks running.
Yeah.
Just play something different, you know?
Yeah, but
All the same.
2D, I mean, some 2D platform games work pretty well for that sort of idea. I don't think a lot of shooters it's well worth for it because you need the screen and stuff like that. But
Steve, you can play Bethesda games on the Switch.
Yeah,
I have Skyrim on the Switch.
Yeah.
But
And it's
you know what?
That's it. He's going to be buying one tomorrow.
No,
Yeah,
you
it's
can't.
the only place you can play Hades other than PC.
You admit, Mark, you need a 4K TV to appreciate.
I have a
Skyrim.
4K TV in the main room.
Yeah. Have you tried modding on Skyrim on there? Have you ever played with it yet?
So I have, but not on my main save because then, for fear of sounding like Haydn's achievement obsession, you don't get the achievements if you mod.
No, you don't. No, I've got a separate character for Fallout 4. But
yeah, I think that's what I'll have to do and start again.
But do you know what? I'll talk about that later with what I've been doing. But with that, but it works well. Trust me on that. It's really good.
I do want to have a look at them. I will have a look at them.
Yeah. Anyway, so what else have we got here? So Haydn.
We've got Lego Star Wars: Skywalker Saga has evidently missed its April launch window, so it's going to be later in the year, but we don't know when.
I don't think it matters right now.
No.
I was thinking similar. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got all the other Lego games anyway, so
I can't imagine it's got a lot of pre-orders.
I'm kind of looking forward to playing it though.
I like Lego games.
If they can go back to Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga. That was a really good selection of games.
Yeah.
And if they'd produced something that was like that rather than Lego Star Wars 3 or the Force Awakens one, then that'll be a really good Lego game.
You see, I still think the best one they ever did so far out of all these Lego games was the Indiana Jones. That, for me, I think topped it.
If I could have typed that in before Steve had said it, Mark, so that you could have said I would have predicted exactly what Steve would have said then.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars, but the Indiana Jones saga, weren't too keen on the Harry Potter, but it's just the way the mechanics work with it and the actual home area where you used to run around the museum. For everything else, it worked, I think, really well for me.
I think Harry Potter tried to be a bit more, though, didn't it, than the sort of normal Lego games in the sort of
They tried to go too deep where it was pretty much simplified. I suppose that's the right word to use. Everything worked well how it should do, but if you want to make it more of an RPG or they want to play with it, don't break something that's not going to be broken,
No.
It's cool. Right, who's going to talk about No Man's Sky then? Because I think I should be Haydn on that.
If you don't mind, I'll just talk about this one, Matt, because I've been playing No Man's Sky as well, so that's another one. But basically, there's a new update. One of these great things that Hello Games is doing at the moment with No Man's Sky is the fact of the numerous updates that they've continued to do with this game, all of which are free. None of them are paid for content. And now there's a brand new mode called Expeditions, which is in No Man's Sky and will change each season with plenty of incentives for space survivalists. At the moment, they've actually got on a daily basis for the next few days. So if you pick this up on Monday, you'll have 2 more days of this. If you watch Twitch streamers with drops enabled on this, and you've linked your Twitch account to your No Man's Sky account, you'll get free things like ships, weapons, all of that sort of stuff in the game, depending upon how long you've been watching it for. But there's different things every day for 15 minutes up to 3 hours of watching these Twitch streams. So, just leave it on in the background and get a load of stuff for No Man's Sky. But it is really, really good the way that what they've done. I'll talk about No Man's Sky later on in what we've been playing. But whether it's easy or insufferable difficulty, each of the milestones is going to unlock lots of mission patches to display once you've completed them as well in game. So they're going for this sort of like new reward season system, like everybody's going seasons, aren't they? But it's, I think Hello Games have been fantastic with this. I know they came under a lot of fire and they were thrown under the bus, and Sony reversed over them, then drove over them, repeated it 50 times and then drove off. But, they've really stepped up the game since the initial release, I think.
I don't think I've played it since. I think I own it on both consoles.
Yeah.
Same here, yeah.
But I don't think I've touched it.
No, me neither. I tried it really early doors, like near release, and I found it a bit frustrating, I seem to remember. But I haven't looked at it since. It's on Game Pass now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On PC and on Xbox.
Yeah.
See,
and you having is there like the passes that you have to buy for the seasons, or it's all free?
No, it's free. Everything's free.
That's good. Can't
Again,
argue with
I'm
free.
assuming that's maybe invested in time for that as well, though, isn't it? It's a sort of game you've got to be dedicated to at this point if you never touched it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a story there. There is obviously multiplayer. There's expeditions, a survival mode. There's a building mode because you can build bases and stuff like that now. You can have massive fleet carriers and all of that sort of stuff. So they've done an incredible amount to this game, and it does look quite nice as well. It does look very attractive when you play it, especially if you're playing it on PC. But Master Race, what can you say? But even on even on the Xbox One or the Series X, the more underpowered machines to the PC.
So this is now 4K Ultra HD as well now, then, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
On every format, that is, or.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm looking on the Xbox on the phone here. Just did a search on the app, and it's got it in there saying what it does. So yeah, okay. I mean, not right now. I don't think I fit the time to play another game like that at the minute.
I'll talk about picking it up again because I've got some things to say about that. Because my son and I were just playing it before we came on, and we've started from scratch, right from the beginning, and we're both on the same planet, both can see each other, all of that sort of stuff. So I'll talk about it in a bit.
Okay, so another game I looked at. Mark, do you want to talk about this? Because I did turn it on for 5 minutes, then turned it off again. But do you want to?
The CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1.2 patch release for Cyberpunk now. Over 100 bug fixes and improvements. Increases NCPD spawn radius when a crime is committed, making it longer for the priest to arrive at the scene of the crime. Issues with enemies wouldn't fall on the ground after being killed. It's visual glitches and some gameplay tweaks, isn't it? Largely. That's what they're trying to claw back. One of my questions, if I'd have done questions this week, one of them would have been, is it too late? That's what I was thinking.
Well,
you know,
see, one of the things they still haven't fixed, and it bugs me out. No pun intended. Is that on the way the screen sits on my TV, there's a bit either side missing slightly. It's not sitting sweet as it should do.
there's no adjustment in game then. I haven't picked it up yet. But
is that to do with the way that your Xbox calibrated to your TV?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
No, I've mucked around with that as well, because I've looked at the PC when it's running on a PC screen. It's same sort of size, sort of similar sort of, dimensions, even though the TV are, but it's just cut off on the sides a little bit, and that just annoys me. And there is, I have read about that, and people have moaned about it, but yeah, I'm not sure how that is going to be fixed. I mean, the TV set up as best as it can with Xbox anyway. That's pretty much easy to do, but there's nothing I can do with that at the moment. I mean, it's not too bad, but it's one of those things. I'm not OCD like some, but it just irritates me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what do you pay
it would
the money
bug
for?
Haydn now. It would freak him out, honestly. See, silent, isn't it? Not saying a word.
Not rising to it.
Nice.
But I will go back to the game once that 4K sits in there and it looks as good as it should do. I will go back and start a new character.
I mean, if you look at the media, I don't think it can decide itself whether the 4K patch will ever happen. Some people are saying here's an estimated date of arrival, and some people are saying it's looking unlikely now. But I think they have.
Yeah, I think if Microsoft, they let them do the FPS boost with it and everything else, that might help them out. It's an interim fix. But again, that's up to CD Projekt Red's idea. I know there's DLC to come out, because I'm not going to say how the game ended, but I thought this needs to carry on from this point on. And my ending I had, wow, didn't expect what I got, but I thought I want more from that ending. So whether or not they will carry on from that point, I don't know. I hope they do. But none of you have played it yet, so Haydn.
I've played it.
Yeah, you completed it?
No, I just didn't get on with it.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, it was one of my I wish I hadn't bothered buying it sort of games.
Yeah, that's the thing now, isn't it? Now I think we have to, which we'll talk about later, is just hold off on buying games until they might come free or whatever,
Well, it's certainly the approach that I've started playing on PlayStation 5 and Xbox between them. So, for example, I bought the Star Wars Squadrons on PlayStation 4 because I thought that's going to appear at some point on Game Pass. So there's no point in me buying it on Xbox to still have it on Xbox when it's on there. So I bought it on PlayStation.
Yeah, but that's so you're playing it on two different platforms. That's just down to your achievement hunting scenarios, isn't it?
Well, sometimes it's quite nice to play a game with a different controller.
Yeah. I did delete Destiny 2 off my PlayStation today.
What?
Because I've got no point in playing it. Why should I play it on an inferior machine? There's no point. So I deleted it, got all that space back.
He hasn't got a PlayStation 5, that's why.
Yeah, I don't need for one. I don't need it. I have everything there in green at the moment. Until a time comes where Final Fantasy is needed. At the moment.
Did you download it?
What?
Final Fantasy.
Well, I've got Final Fantasy already on mine, haven't I?
7 remake.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got that. Yeah, but obviously, what I won't get, they're doing some extra content apparently for the PlayStation 5 version of it, which is pathetic. I think that's typical Sony by the sounds of it at the moment. What they're like. I don't know why they can't give that content to the PlayStation 4 users. because they were there buying it in the first place. But I'm not here to whinge about Sony. That's not my cup of tea.
What do you mean, Steve? You're always here to whinge about Sony. It's your professionalism. If you went on Mastermind, it would be my specialist chosen subject is whinges about Sony.
Saves me having to do it.
Or with a sideline of Nintendo because it's for kids.
Yeah, that's
It
not
is,
right.
though. It is. I'm telling you.
No, it's not, Steve. It's not
We
at all.
established this last week, Steve.
No, I'm not. I'm not having it. Honestly.
I'll tell you what, let's have a majority vote. Mark, anybody who agrees it's for everybody, hands up. Majority wins. There we go. Motion carried.
Sorry, I'm
Steve's
going to
wrong.
go like that. And you out there can't see what I'm doing.
Yes, he thinks he's Sir Winston Churchill, but with his hand the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody else want to chip in with what else we got here?
There is also a new gen version of The Witcher 3 that's being released in the second half of 2021 as well.
I saw a screenshot actually of Henry Cavill finishing off the new season.
No, not the TV series, the game.
No, I'm just saying on the TV series.
Oh, yeah, season 2, yeah.
With that tash.
Yeah.
But anyone interested in that?
No.
No. When Skyrim came to the Xbox One and PS4, it was still the same. You know, it's the same game essentially, and it looked a little bit prettier, but nothing compared to the games that were recent or contemporary for that machine or those machines.
It will look nicer with ray tracing.
It will. I don't know. It's old, but then it says the man that plays Skyrim every week still. I don't know.
Well, there are different scenarios though. You can mod that. And
They are. I have played Witcher.
I never completed it the first time.
No,
anyway,
me
so
neither. No, I didn't either.
If that's going to be a freebie though, I would take it.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be a free upgrade for you if you've
I
already
do
got it.
I do own all the DLC as well, so maybe in a lean time at some point.
That's a game I've got on my Switch.
That's a bit small though. I think those sort of games aren't they for that? Do you think or not?
We
What,
play
The
it on your
Witcher's-
TV.
Yeah.
The Witch is a bit small for the
But
Switch.
for a tablet, not for a tablet, but for a screen size such as that sort of game, you lose some of the immersiveness in it, or not?
Not really, no, I don't think so. I think
Depends where you are, I would say, slightly.
I mean, if you could put some headphones on at the same time, that's
Yeah,
probably,
exactly, yeah. Which
Right.
you would.
well, depends where you're playing, isn't it? So if
You're not going to sit on the train with The Witcher 3 blaring out to the rest of the carriage,
Well,
are you?
the thing is, though, you wouldn't actually play The Witcher 3, would you, on a train? If you're
Well,
on
you
a
would if
journey,
you had
I suppose
headphones.
if
Why
you're
not?
on a journey from Penzance to, I don't know, Scotland, then yeah,
Inverness, yeah.
you could probably complete it.
Aberdeen.
You could probably complete it next time. I don't know.
Yeah. Incredibly, did you see the stuff about Microsoft Flight Simulator? Somebody has modded Microsoft Flight Simulator to show the Suez Canal situation with the blockage. And they've put a YouTube video on there as well. So the link's in the notes there, guys, so you can have a watch.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that later.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been taking too much care and attention to news at the minute. It's sort of, I don't know. Got a few, obviously, there's a few people that have passed away, I think, recently as well. But I can't remember who they were now. There was a couple that I've noticed.
When does that come out for Xbox? Flight Simulator?
Summer, I think.
Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just haven't mentioned which year yet.
Yeah. Quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am. It's, as you say, a lot of people play it for an hour or two. I think depends what sort of person you are. So, you know, I think for looking at stuff that's historical and going around the world, seeing Sydney Opera House and flying around these different areas, I think it's pretty cool to
Yeah,
do
definitely.
that.
I think the thing for that game is that there's two different levels to it. You want something that is just sort of like instant arcadey kind of play. And then you want so that people can go up and fly around in whatever plane that they want, and you know, go and look. Oh, look, there's my house. I can see it, and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got the people who actually want to play a flight simulator.
That have got their room made up to look like a 747 with their missus in the background holding a cup of tea.
Yeah.
You know, do you want the fish, sir? No, I think I'll have the fish for dinner. But yeah, no, I do get that. I mean, do they? I suppose they don't, do they? Some of the biplanes, do they make them pretty standard, or are they literally simulated to the letter?
Everything's simulated to the letter. I remember reading about somebody who was commenting on this game is so amazed he was having to look up the manual online for some sort of plane to find out how to turn on the internal light because we're flying at night.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's that's part of its reputation, though, isn't it?
Mm.
Really,
But there's
the
a
fact
feel
it
for
is
that sort of thing, though,
such
isn't there? Really,
simulation.
whether it's trains, planes, or automobiles, there's people that like to just play simulation games.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are like, for example, really weird games like train simulators.
Yeah.
It's all right, honestly. Trust me, it's something really different.
I've got my thermos with me.
Did you ever do train sport as a kid?
No,
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
no,
can imagine it.
I did bird spotting. Wow, she's a bit of all right.
Yeah.
I did all sorts of stamp collecting and all sorts of things. Sorry, it's just terrible, isn't it? I like that.
Just the one ticket, please.
Yeah.
Um,
Just for the platform so I can go and touch the frame.
Guess what I've got under my anorak? It's a thermos. I've not seen a thermos that big, sir.
Anyhow, should we move on to some exciting news? I think so. So, Game Pass. I've been looking at MLB The Show for the Xbox. I've been playing it for a few seasons now on PlayStation, so I've had that. Thoroughly enjoy it. I've not pulled the trigger.
Game.
It is. It's superb. I've not pulled the trigger on the Xbox as yet, and we didn't have to because shock and awe on April Fool's Day, it's coming out on Game Pass on day one.
No,
And
I am
that is
ecstatic.
the biggest news story of the year, I think.
For me, yeah.
A PlayStation game that's been going for 15 years and it's still made by a PlayStation company is going to be on an Xbox. And I think the tide will be turning with that one.
Just me being naturally suspicious of this. What's the bets that there's going to be in app purchases?
No.
No more than there would be for, like, I don't know, DLC
FIFA?
or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they don't have do they have
a coin
that
system?
yeah,
Yeah.
they do. I've not looked into it though.
No, I've never. I don't think in the last one I purchased was last year, the year before. I think it's to do with more of the stats and updates and bits and pieces. But
Yeah.
you're playing a regular season of baseball. I don't think you need it.
No, I think even if you're just playing mates online, I don't think you need anything either.
No. But it will be the base game that's going to be on the Game Pass.
Yeah. You still get all the roster updates and that kind of
Oh yeah,
thing,
of course.
imagine.
But it just looks so good. I can't explain how good that game looks.
No, it's going to be massive.
Even on the PS4 Pro at the moment, playing on there.
Do you feel that this is Sony sort of recognising the impact that Bethesda is going to have, or the loss of Bethesda on the Sony side, and trying to strike up some sort of deal to give some of, maybe, this could be a trend of some of the more traditional Sony franchises like this game and like one or two other ones coming onto Xbox in such a way to ensure that it keeps Microsoft sweet to release the next Elder Scrolls on their system as well as...
I think it's probably nothing to do with it personally. Money talks, obviously. They've gone straight to the people that make it, and they said yes to that. I don't know. I would love to get fly on the wall in PlayStation in their conferences just to see how this goes.
Yeah, me too.
The likelihood of it, and I know you two guys love it, but it is more of a niche exclusive.
It definitely is. Yeah. You have to. You're not
and it's not really going to be a console seller.
I think what it will do
is, I suppose, being on Game Pass is likely to bring in a much wider audience than if it had just been a Sony exclusive has come to Xbox and you have to buy it. It's available now, and I would have bought it anyway, as you would have done, Steve.
Absolutely.
But now it's on Game Pass, so you're going to just make your access to a much bigger market.
See, this is why I think that there's going to be in-game purchases in it.
No, if you look at the base game and look at all the different games that are out there, you can see what you can get within that. They don't have. It's not like FIFA with the Ultimate Team.
No, it isn't, and it isn't EA.
No.
Most EA sports games now have some variation of Ultimate Team. I'm pretty sure they do. Because this isn't EA, unless they jump on it, on that particular wagon, I don't think it will.
No,
it works so well as it is.
There's no need to. And if you look at the different versions of what you get in the game for the prices, that's the bit you'll be talking about with the extra coins that you use in the rosters and bits and pieces. But I don't think that's not I've seen ever been purchasable before, not within 15 years anyway. I used to be green with envy, if it's the right term to use, that when I didn't have a PlayStation, I wanted to play MLB The Show.
Yeah, same here. And you get the only other, the only game that was available on Xbox was RBI Baseball.
That was crap as well.
It was rubbish, really rubbish. Compared to the show, there is no comparison.
It's what, I suppose, it's what FIFA is to the Premiership.
Yeah.
And
basically.
It gives you that experience of feeling you're actually watching a game of baseball on American TV.
Yeah, totally.
And that's, I mean, I know there's some other football games in the past that didn't have the licensing, but this is licensed to the hill, and it's got all the stadiums are there, all the shirts, everything that's involved with baseball. I mean, it's huge in America anyway, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think this will, as I said, people will download this out of curiosity and will be very much surprised, I think.
I'll be interested to see if it actually does, not this year now, but next year, maybe spark a different publisher to try and bring out some competition. Because right now, in baseball as a sport, there is no other game to play, really.
There used to be
not
one
on that AAA level.
No, there was one years ago. I remember playing on the PlayStation 1, I think it was.
High Heat.
I can't remember what it was, but it was anyone that was available. I used to play that all the time.
Yeah.
But this is a Marmite game probably at one point.
Yeah, I think it's not the sort of game you're going to just try and think, that's, you're either going to get it. I think it's a bit like cricket games, isn't it? You either enjoy them or it's all just a bit slow. And
the same with American football. I mean, not everyone likes that. That's a different kettle of fish. But, every time that the Super Bowl comes round, people like to probably pick it up and play it a little bit. But, but baseball is more of a playable game, I think.
Definitely.
You can play that with minimal knowledge, I think is probably the term to use. I think it's gonna. I think it's either gonna pave the way for more, because I mean, if rumours are abound that I think you've probably spoken about Ubisoft probably being purchased at some point for Game Pass. There won't be too many left that Microsoft haven't bought, and I think how this progresses for the future for the Xbox, it's nothing but just good for them, because they've had so much slating in the last few years. And PlayStation obviously doing so well with their single player games that exclusives.
The issue is that we need both of them, because Nintendo don't play with others. They're that kid who's at the back of the playground when all of the other ones are all together. And we need Sony and Microsoft to keep each other in check, because if we only end up with one of them, that's the worst case scenario, because then you've got a monopoly on console gaming, or the majority of it.
It's something I've not looked into. I only heard about it when I was listening to Des and Legary talking about Game Pass idea and what's going on with it. But what's happened about PlayStation Store then? What's happening with that? Is it some parts that can close down?
This is what we talked about last week.
PlayStation 3
PlayStation 3, Vita and PSP.
Yeah.
They're stopping a bit. The stores are closing in July and August.
Right.
For those. But the update to last week's news item that Mark and I both talked about is that you are still going to be able to download your games. You're just not going to be able to buy new ones. So if you've got your digital copy, because this is what we were talking about, was, I was saying, I think I need to get my PlayStation 3 on, stick in a hard drive and download everything that I own. But I don't need to do that, because I'll still be able to connect and download. I just won't be able to buy a new PlayStation 3 game.
Well, to be honest though, was saying that compat on Xbox done so well, there is a market for it. So are Sony missing out?
But this is what I'm talking about. We need Microsoft and Microsoft and Sony to both be in this field, because they both have different ideas and they both end up copying each other at some point or another. At the moment, Sony is very, very hesitant about doing backward compat, because what they want to do is sell you the game again, badging it as a PlayStation 4 version of the game that's had no upgrades, is exactly the same game, probably still running under emulation, but it's another cash grab for them. Whereas Microsoft have said, no, we're not going to do that. If you already own the game, you own the game.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll happen? Do you think Sony will bring back compat to the PS5?
I think if they keep losing people in droves over to Microsoft. They're going to have to. They're going to have to look and say, what are they doing different to what we're doing? Just like Microsoft has had to do this time, or in the last gen, because Sony owned them last gen. There's no two ways about it. They did. I love both consoles. I'm not bothered about whichever one. But Sony owned Microsoft in the last gen, and, you know, credit to him, Phil Spencer's turned it around.
Hardware sales, Sony is still much bigger install, though. Much bigger sales in terms of hardware.
But that's only going to be down to what's being sold off at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation, though. Go on, Steve.
If I'd have found it, I'd have probably put it on the Facebook. I was listening to Destin Legary talking about the dominance between the two. But when you work out really what's been available, it's a false sort of look at how we are at the moment. Now, whether or not they could say by end of the year, if we've made 2,000 consoles and we've sold that 2,000, that's fine. And the same for Microsoft. They're not regularly going to be in the stores at the minute. And this might not be for May. I don't know if within the next year, is it? It's still going to be few and far between. So this base that we have is probably a false figure. But when you look at Game Pass and you look at how many people are now going onto Game Pass, people are purchasing, maybe they're purchasing another Xbox, but not maybe the Series X, just for that as well, you know. So, because I think yes is more readily available, isn't it?
It's not only that, but people are also picking up old Xbox One or Xbox One S's or X's as well, because there's a load of those on the market.
Yeah. But the PC side as well, people are doing it from that point of view as well. It doesn't matter what the ecosystem is still just Xbox, isn't it? Did you mention about? I haven't looked into since I last looked at it. Did you mention about Xbox Network?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they're just trying to evolve by the looks of it, and right now they're doing everything right. You can't put wrong with that.
Yeah, Game Pass is just undeniable value, isn't it? Really, at the moment. And it just keeps growing.
I know. I mean, when you look at games, which I suppose we'll talk about, Outriders, for example. I just honestly couldn't believe when I put my PlayStation on this afternoon just for a little look. And looks everything they're asking me to buy, I don't need to, But I don't know. I want to see what PlayStation how they're going to move forward themselves to keep their clan happy, because I know, forget the fanboy bit for a minute, there's been a lot of rumblings over this, and people are very much pissed off from the Sony side of the gamers, because they probably feel let down.
Well, they're getting rid of their exclusives to multi-format, or at least Microsoft, and then Microsoft putting them on Game Pass is not going to make anyone happy, apart from, well, certainly not Sony, is it? Not if you're a Sony fan.
And they're still they're still games that like to be loved from what they support or what they like to play their platform from. But if Sony are going to feel like it's out of their hands, are they thinking what's going to be next? What if Microsoft bought Square Enix? What if that was next? Heavens above, you don't know, do you? It's not possible. It is possible to still happen, things like that. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. I'm sure they're still looking who to purchase.
Yeah, I don't think they've stopped by any means.
No, I know they tried to purchase Nintendo, but they were laughed off that one. But give them the balls to try.
That was a long time ago, though.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Different market. But you're in a situation where people are envious over the Xbox software games arrangement, but most people own PlayStations. Or more people own PlayStations at the moment. And
the irony of it is where Microsoft has gone down this sort of gaming as a service sort of approach, which Sony has the garlic and the holy water and the crucifixes out and holding it at bay. Then the same with backcompat. Microsoft is having exactly the same approach with VR, yet we've now got PlayStation going to be releasing PSVR 2.
Yeah.
And it was mentioned, I think, I can't remember where I heard it, it was mentioned about VR again. He said that's not the direction we want to go down.
Yeah.
It's something they don't need to do.
But the thing is, they've already got the headsets there, because they've got the Microsoft augmented reality headsets. All they need to do is say, right, that's the official Xbox headset. They've got the controllers there
for it as well. Or even they could even partner up with Oculus, which they probably do to a certain degree already, and maybe, I don't know.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened, yeah.
So things like that are possibilities, but right now they're concentrating on how their mechanics are working with Game Pass and purchasing companies, so you can now say that there are games to play on the Xbox. Where before Sony were laughing them off about it, where you've got no games to play, but
it is almost like Microsoft saying, "Who needs exclusives?" Really, you don't. If you can offer this format and this whole pay games for service and do it as well as they are seemingly doing it at the moment,
I mean,
it's overcoming any need for exclusives to an extent.
The simple fact is, though, is that the console manufacturers need the exclusives, because if we only have everything on every platform, then your differentiation in terms of what equipment that you're going to buy a PlayStation, you're going to buy an Xbox, is going to be judged by how does each one perform in the games and how much is it. And that's not what Sony want to do. Sony want you to go to their platform because they're for gamers and this is it.
But look at other people that have tried to do the idea of gaming. Other services that have come out. I mean, Amazon Games is another one that may be trying to sprout its wings.
It's a bit of a false start, though, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah.
The Apple games.
Yeah.
Apple Arcade, yeah.
Google.
But the situation with, everything being on every platform and you're just choosing over personal preference. I mean, isn't that what we do with our phones, essentially? You choose iOS or Android or used to be Windows.
But there you've still got you've got two competitors. You've got the Android camp and the iOS camp. You haven't got the Android camp.
No, but the innovation is different within each, but in different directions, I suppose. I don't know. There's not much.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is it goes down to your console then, doesn't it, in terms of how much is it, how much budget have you got, and what can each one do? So if they can both play, how are you going to decide? And most people probably decide on an Xbox Series X because it's the most powerful of the consoles. Because you wouldn't go with a PlayStation 5 at that point, then, would you? Because you'd have the same operating system, the same games.
See, I think by the end of the year, now I'm gonna put this out there. I could be completely wrong. So by the end of the year, could have the new Forza game out. We'll have Halo out on Game Pass. We'll have Android and Apple apps running as they are for xCloud. The next thing will be going down this route, and it will be the TV. We will see Xbox on every TV that has apps, and you'll be able to play xCloud on your TV without your console by the end of the year. I think that's their next protocol, and that's how they'll do it.
So completely cloud gaming streaming.
Yeah,
like
as well as
almost.
That will be another option for you to do if you're going to go into a TV where you haven't got your Xbox. You can go into the app and carry on playing on there.
But that's just following what Sony have done with PlayStation now anyway, because they've built that into the Bravia TVs.
Yeah, but that's been exclusive for Bravia. But where this sort of app will go global on every make of TV, the same way Netflix and YouTube is, that will probably be their next protocol.
I think that's definitely where they're aiming. I think that it wouldn't surprise me if we don't end up with an Xbox app on PlayStation.
Or
didn't they
and on Switch, they were supposed to be doing it as well. Wasn't that going to
happen on Switch at one point? Or
it was much talked about.
Yeah. Or, I mean, in which case, are we even going to get a successor to the Series X and Series S?
Oh, we still will do, I think.
But why not just have a little streaming box that you plug in, almost like an Apple TV or something like that?
But it's dependent
that you just plug into your TV.
Again, this is dependent on what your background of your internet is going to be running at as well, isn't it?
True. It does. It requires on the infrastructure, but not only that, it requires on a big sort of like mental shift for a lot of us, which is to go on to streaming services, because we've all been, guilty of it. We've taken the mick out of Stadia, because let's face it, there's a lot to take the mick out of. But at the end of the day, it does work well when it works well.
Well, yeah, I would say at the moment, and it'd be interesting to see how it runs when you get to use it on the Apple side of it. When I can just click my Razer controller around my phone and I can carry on playing Destiny or Fallout in another room, and it runs perfectly.
Is this the man that said the Switch was too small?
No, but I'm not saying it's too small. What I'm saying is I would
it's
never
for kids.
It's for kids. No, without joking aside, the games on Nintendo don't appeal to me. Okay, the majority of them. The big games that are on there, I prefer on a big TV at most of the time. If I wanted to have a quick 2D play around on my phone in another room, I can do that. Or if I want to go into Destiny, I just want to go and see what Zero's got when I'm sitting in the room because the clock ticks over on a Friday. I'll pop in and have a look. I wouldn't play Destiny on my phone as in normally because shooters, I don't think you can do that. You need a bigger view.
I thought you used to go to work and play it on your lunch hour on your phone, you said.
I've tested it where I've been in, where I've had internet that works well. I have played with it. For Forza, for example, that's something that's quite easy to use. We played another iteration of Forza with just the touch screen before on the phone. They did bring a game out not long ago.
It's quite rapid though, Forza.
Yeah.
In terms of
But it's just I suppose as a gamer you like to just connect to the world, don't you? Even though you're away, it's something to look at. Even if you're going to play a 2D game like Ori or something like that, I think it went well. Anyway, because we are going to get...
We are, yeah.
So does someone want to talk about what we got quickly with the Xbox Store?
Okay, so shall I take this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, so I don't look at the Xbox Store sort of on a weekly basis as a point, but I do sometimes. And I had a look, and this week just gone, you had a Bandai Namco sale, which you could get the Tomb Raider trilogy, all 3 games of the reboots, for 17 quid, which I thought was a bargain. There was loads of Resident Evil, all the Resident Evil series pretty much was on there.
Yeah.
And, older the games, the less they were. But one thing I also noticed, which I didn't realise was out on Xbox, is a game called Can't Drive This. Have you heard of this? It's essentially a 2-player game where one of you is driving a monster truck and whilst the other player is making the track up as you go.
Right.
And it's over water. It's been out on PC for a while. It looks great fun, but that's available on Xbox as well, which I didn't realise. Really good multiplayer game, just 2 of you if there is. But now the Bandai Namco sale has been replaced by an Easter sale for Xbox. You've got Assassin's Creed's on there, Valhalla, Watchdog Legions, Gang Beasts. Do you know that one? That's a very funny game. Made by the same people who did Human Fall Flat, which is also a good game. Hitman 3, quite big reductions. Immortals, Phoenix Rising.
That is a good game. That is a sleeper game, is that one. It's really excellent.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine's really into it. My favourites, PGA and Ghost Recon Breakpoint, are there. There's loads of bargains to be had, so if you're catching it...
Have you got PGA 2K21 then?
I have, yeah. I play it every week, pretty much.
We'll have to have a game then, because I just put it on the Series X, and it just come up to say it's now in HDR as well now, on the compatible options.
I told Haydn last week that I gave Ace Plantman as my gamer tag to my son, because he uses it more than I do, and I'm on as Kitchen Smith now, so my gamer tag mainly for me is Kitchen Smith now. So, and do you ever look at? Yeah, go on.
No, just send me over a request or something.
Sure.
At some point.
Do you guys ever look at the game previews section?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Occasionally, this has been a big one that you want to,
another friend of mine plays loads of a game called Atlas, which is in the game preview section. So I'll talk about it in what we've been playing, but that's on there. It's been on there for a while, but it's from the same developers as Ark Survival Evolved, which my kids play a ton of. Very popular kind of Twitch, YouTube-y streaming game, Ark. But there's another game on there that's not long been on PC and beta for last year called Enlisted. Have you heard of this? It's a World War II MMO kind of squad-based shooter, essentially. Looks really good. If it can deliver on what it's promising, it looks phenomenal. You've got 10 classes. You play key battles in World War II, either as an infantry or tanks or planes. Big MMO scenarios. One thing I thought was interesting is that you can't... I don't know how they're going to do this, but they've said that you can't change the reality of what happened. So if you have 2 sides against each other, does that mean one side's always going to win? I don't know. Yeah, I know. I don't know how that works. It is available.
So 2 to 4 online co-op you got there. online multiplayer of 2 to 50.
Yeah, big
4K
games.
HD, HDR10, 60 frames per second.
They're selling it
optimized
well.
Series X, yeah.
The Atlas you can pick up if there is a trial of Atlas available, which is how I played it. For that you can pick up for $12.49, and Enlisted looks amazing, but game preview
it just says download for free. I think, isn't it? I think
Enlisted is it was. I looked today and it said $24.99. I'm sure.
It just says download to console on my phone, but
that means you've already got it in your library.
Maybe, yeah. But I kind of quite like the idea of game previews, but £25 seems too steep for me. I think.
I think
for an incomplete game.
My fingers were burnt. We won't go into it now. My fingers were burnt once before over a preview game, and I never played it.
We happy few.
We happy few. That was it.
Bring back BioShock, please. I'd love to see a new BioShock game.
But
I've heard it's in the works, maybe, but that's me dreaming of it. I think I don't know. But,
yeah, so lots of Easter sale bargains if you want to get them.
Okay, so who's the new releases then?
I'll do those. So we've got coming on the 6th of the 4th, Star Wars Republic Commando on the PS4 and Switch. Also on the 6th, we've got Lost Worlds Beyond the Page, PC, PS4, Xbox One and Switch. Oddworld Soulstorm on PC, PS4 and PS5. And on the 8th, we've got Before Your Eyes on the PC. And on the 9th, we've got Say No More.
Mark, do you want to do Games for Gold? Because I'm not reading those small words.
Wow. Okay, so Games for Gold for April the 1st, available all month basically, is Vikings Worlds of, what does that say?
Midgard,
sorry. And then 16th to the 15th of May, you've got Truck Racing. And then on 1st to the 15th, you've got Dark Void. And then you've got Hardcore Uprising from the 16th to the 30th. The last two of those are 360 games.
Yeah.
Have either of you played Dark Void?
I think I might have done.
No. It's one of those ones I've looked at several times, especially back in the day. Truck Racing, gonna give it a whirl.
Is there a truck simulator on Xbox yet? That's what I don't know.
There is now.
Someone upstairs actually plays the truck racing simulator, and he says, "I'm going to go and drive a truck." I'm thinking, "No, I want to do that one."
Steve, on the PC, there's a game for you. It's called Euro Truck Simulator.
That's the main one.
I own that. I have played that.
You see, I'm just thinking of Alan Partridge now, with the guy that was a fan of trucks. Okay, Game Pass.
Yeah, the same guy who also gave Darth Maul his voice.
It did, yeah. It did, didn't it? So Game Pass we've got incoming. So we've got Outriders, NHL 21, MLB The Show 21. Little Borg, City of Mages, that's April the 2nd. Papa's Quiz, also 2nd of April. Lost Words Beyond the Page on the 6th. Breath Hedge on the 6th. On the 7th, we've got Luck Slinger. These are all weird, probably quite cheap games, aren't they, normally, these ones. Cozy Group. Anyone heard of that one on the 8th? What's a Dub on the 8th as well. Gravity Heroes on the 9th. Night Squad 2 on the 14th. Rain on Your Parade on the 15th. MotoGP 21 on the 22nd. Battle Axe on the 23rd. Also 23rd, we've got Dungeon and Gravestone. Also Judgment as well on the 23rd. And we've got Nier Replicant version, whatever that is. Is that a newer version of the game, is it, coming out? Or is that a remodel of it?
No, evidently that's the name of it.
Yeah.
1.22474487139. ...
And then last of all, we got R-Type Final 2 on the 30th. PlayStation, anybody?
Yeah, so on PlayStation this month on Plus, we have Oddworld Soulstorm, which is available from launch on the 6th, Days Gone, and Zombie Army Dead War 4.
Cool. Twitch, anybody?
I'll do Twitch then. We have Move or Die Couch Party, Before I Forget, The Escapists, good little game that is, Moving Out, and Aces of Luftwaffe Squadron in April.
Moving Out's quite a fun game to play.
Yeah.
Escapists, I think I've got the Walking Dead version of that.
Yeah, there was. Well, there is.
Yeah, there's loads of different versions of it.
Yeah, there is.
And what's those epic games you got there?
We've got Tales of Neo C. That's available up until the 8th of April at 4 p.m. And then after the 8th of April at 4 p.m. until the 15th, we've got 3 out of 10 Season 2.
Oh, so plenty of games to keep you busy, even though the big ones aren't maybe out for you at the moment. Okay, so let's move swiftly on to our gaming week.
Which there's no pause for, Steve.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I wanted to anyway.
Do you know, he does it every time.
Yeah. Okay. Who's going to start?
Well, should I start because we've got a segue from mine to yours, haven't we?
Okay, cool.
So, I'll start off with No Man's Sky, then I talked about it earlier on. I've not been on this game properly. Well, I've been loaded it a couple of times, but played it for about 10 minutes each time after I platinumed it. This game has changed immeasurably. It's still got the same basic mechanic of doing the resource collection and all of that sort of stuff, and you have to fix your shape and to get up into space, all of those things as part of the tutorial. I have to admit, as a tutorial, it pretty much sucks. It's not very accessible as a tutorial at all.
That's what I think let it down for me, I think. To be honest.
And that's what they really
Same
want
here.
to do. But when you actually look at what they've done inside this game now, with the base building, the multiplayer, the expeditions, the new add-on where you can go, exploring the galaxy and all of that sort of stuff. There's survival mode, there's your normal mode, there's builders mode, there's all of these things. Before you had No Man's Sky when I played it, that was it. There's 14 quadrillion planets to visit in the game, which should keep you busy either for a very long Sunday or a very long lockdown and furlough, to be honest, because you're never going to get to the end of that many planets anyway. It's impossible for the entire human race to visit all of that in a person's lifetime. So I've really enjoyed dipping back in and trying this out. We did get a bit stuck quite early on trying to find a hematic seal for the ship, which I knew I had to craft. I got all of the pieces together to craft, but I couldn't, and I just kept going round and round and round, and eventually the game decided I could craft it, and I have no idea why. I must have done something to allow me to be able to craft it, but I have no idea what. And then we lifted off, went to another planet, and carried on from there. But it's such a nice game to play. They've put more variety in the aliens and that sort of stuff as well. So it's great to see an old game, because this was midway through the last cycle of consoles, still having free upgrades even now. You can't knock it. You just can't knock it for what Hello Games have done. So I would suggest anybody, if you've played it before, maybe it didn't have some of the features that you wanted in it, go back and have a look now, because there's a whole sort of story about alien languages and these different things as well, and just absolutely loads. Read through all of the patch notes for everything that they've done on this game. It's immense. It really is. It's this would have been 4 or 5 games down the line in most manufacturers or developers.
Yeah.
So
fair play to them.
Yeah, really well done. And it's a shame that they didn't get the award for the BAFTA award for the best evolving game. Yeah, because for where that game has come from to where it is now, it outpaces Destiny and all of the ones that were in that group. Because, for start off, you have to pay for the changes in Destiny, whether or not that's for your seasons or for the expansions. So the next one that I played was She Sees Red. So this is a game very much like The Bunker or those sorts of games where it's an FMV sort of game, only this time you're investigating a murder, and there's 4 choices 4 endings to get in the game. It's not an overly long game, and especially when after you've played the second game playthrough, you can start to skip the cutscenes that you've seen, which to be honest is quite nice because the cutscenes are quite long. I would say the first couple of playthroughs will probably take about an hour and a half, and then the next couple of ones will probably take you about 45 minutes with all of the additional new content in there.
Is this on Game Pass?
No,
PC.
So I'm actually no.
it's Xbox, but
Oh,
Yeah, I'm just curious because I must have already owned it because I just looked it up while you were chatting, and I'm now 23% in downloading it. It says download to Xbox, so I'm assuming I must already own it then.
yeah. Obviously you've bought it at some point, but no, I don't think it's not a Game Pass game.
I thought this was bought with a bundle because what was the one we played with the pandemic? Remember with the.
I was trying to remember what that one was called, and I just couldn't remember it. And there was also the other one as well, where it was about a heist.
Yeah, that one was Night Shift.
Night Shift, yeah. So it's that sort of game. Night Shift.
Late Shift, yeah.
Late shift,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's it.
In
Yeah,
the car park with the cars and that, and you get kicks off.
yeah. So I quite like these sort of games. They're just something just to sit down and relax to. It was a few hours entertainment. I have no problem. I think I picked it up for like a couple of quid, months ago in a sale because, believe it or not, Marc, I actually scour the Xbox store all of the time. I know you would not believe it, would you? But, I'll go and have a look, and if there's a game on for like, a couple of quid, I'll go, okay. And, give it a go.
You just purchase it regardless sort of thing, isn't it?
No, not regardless. I do have some sort of sifting mechanism. I don't just play absolutely anything, but I do like... I like to experiment in different games, and I found some really, really good little, diamonds in the rough in there. And one of the best ones that I ever found was Planet Alpha, which was a fantastic platforming game. And I would love to see a sequel to that one because it was really clever the way that worked, and the fact that you could actually shift the orbit of the planet so that you could force day and night cycles, stuff like that. It was a great game, and there's loads of other ones on there. I quite like looking at the old sort of style retro shooters that they have on there. There's some really good ones. I was playing one last night. I was trying to remember what it was. I'll just have a look at on my gamer card. I'll be able to tell you. But I also also played this morning, and I say this morning. It was sort of like midnight onwards. I played Radon Blast, which is like a defender sort of game, which is really quite enjoyable as well. But there's it was a Solar Shifter EX. That's quite an enjoyable arcadey kind of game that's currently on. I think that was £2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bargain.
Yeah, so you can't, games like that, even if you only play it for like an hour and then never play it again, you consider how long, a decent AAA game would cost. It's, on par in terms of pound per pound. So, yeah, so that was another one. So that's a free one. But the one I wanted to talk about was Outriders. So I know that you didn't like this, Steve, and I'm sure that you're going to come on about that. But
I'm not going to completely moan about it. But yeah, go on, you start, and I'll rant at the end.
I'm not going to moan about it. I'm just going to listen to every point that you make and then complain about what you've said.
Where's the off button on this?
The game, I think, is like a mashup of Anthem, Destiny, and Gears of War. So it's got the Destiny grinding looter sort of based drive for you to play. It plays like Gears of War, and it looks like a cross between Anthem environments and the Gears of War sort of characters. That's sort of where I would put it, but it also has that Destiny sort of super powered, special abilities where, you can be a pyromancer or a technomancer and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
So that's why I would say it's like a sort of like very strange sort of like lab rat created love child of those three games. And first off, I spotted a load of graphical glitches during the pre-rendered scenes on the FMV. It wasn't smooth. I found that the character models in the cutscenes, even when they're using the engine rather than pre-rendered, don't use the outfits that your character is wearing. So it's immediately, stark difference. Your
That
character
takes you away from your experience, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Straight off.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that is sort of like creating a game in 2021, 101. Make sure your character in your videos matches the character that you're playing.
Would you have a tick list of when you're making this game? We want to make sure, we've got to do that, we've got to do that, we've got to do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
How do you leave out something like that? Because obviously in Destiny, for example...
Oh, God, Destiny have done that since last gen.
Yeah, and it works well. The cutscenes... Yeah. Can I just say, the cutscenes blend together well in Destiny. The cutscenes in this, you load, it waits, it rocks, it's not great good looking. I'm thinking, God, give me strength. It's
making it sound like 360.
And this is what I'm wanting to say about, because I'm complaining about this game at the moment, but I'm going to come on to some more positive stuff. In terms of this as a game, loading screens. What the heck are loading screens doing on there? They might only last 5 seconds, but they're there. The whole point of the next gen and the SSDs is loading screens are supposed to have gone. Now, if we're going to have loading screens, then I want the ability to launch that game off a hard drive, and I'll wait a bit longer for it to load. Otherwise, get rid of loading screens.
But if you're going to have a loading screen, and the only one we have in Destiny is the ship to planet, do that sort of mechanism, not a picture, and you've got a circle going.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's what they've got is a proper loading screen. It's only on there for a couple of seconds, but it doesn't matter. And this is what I've always said about this generation, and somebody ill-informed in another group had a different view, which I'm not going to talk about. But the whole point is that the SSDs were supposed to eliminate all of this need for loading screens now. If we're going to have them still in games, even if they're only going to be for a few seconds, then at least give us the option of being able to say you have to be able to, or you have to either have it with minimal or no loading screens on the SSD or definite loading screens on the hard drive, so that we can have a choice, especially for the people who are on the Xbox Series S, so that they can free up more space and get better storage. Anyway, that's my rant about loading screens. There's so many things wrong with the game. It doesn't tell you a lot in terms of what you want to do. It's got some good pointers in terms of where to go, but they're not all. They're like the compass directions are very much like the Destiny ones, where from the bit in the environment that you're in, start running in this direction, then they'll start moving about relative to where you are, because it works more like a GPS running you through the map rather than anything else.
I don't like the idea of the white line, though. That's dreadful. If you're going to have a breadcrumb trail like that, what that is, you should have that partially invisible. Like
I never got a white line at all.
There is. You can actually press a button, and it will then give you a little white line, and it will follow you to where you got to go.
Yeah, but that's a bit like Forza and stuff like that, where they've got those, and Gears did that as well.
Yeah, with a breadcrumb trail, I call it, which they did that well in Fable, because they would make that partially invisible. But this is so in your face, it's awful. It's awful.
I never saw it, because I obviously never pressed that button. But one thing I would say is, in terms of gameplay, it's very linear gameplay. It's like Gears. Like that. It's very start here, end here, be man, me finish level sort of thing. It's not, the open worldy sort of thing, or at least where I've got to it so far, isn't like that. And the environments are nothing fancy. They look, if you looked at this game without the character, you would think that you were looking at Anthem. I think it looks. Loot comes plenty in the game. Sometimes it feels a bit pointless because you get stuff that's less powered than where you already are. And I've never really quite understood this. There's a really comprehensive skill tree to be able to to be able to choose your direction,
huge, isn't it? Yeah.
And you can reconfigure that skill tree how you want it as well. So if you've put points in and you're thinking, actually, I need a better ability for this sort of thing, for this sort of like level or whatever, if you're dying, then you can reposition those points. the model creation was a bit limited as well. You know, there's a few options, but there's not like the gazillion options that you get in like Mass Effect, for example. But despite all, and I mean all of its problems, I actually quite enjoyed it. And I have no idea why, considering I've just complained so much about the game. It was just quite fun to play. I was playing single player. I know, Steve, you said that you had a problem about leveling up, but I never had that problem leveling up when I was playing single player because it was coming up. You've leveled up.
No, I went to, what was it? I think I went to World Tier 2.
Yeah, which is what I did as well, yeah.
And then after that, when I ended up finishing what I suppose would have been like the tutorial for the game, and you're in that sort of base which you're looking over with big staircases, and you're looking into the big wide world, and it says where to go from down there. And the way they have your how do I put it? The way they have your stash, shall we say, which you had was in a crate which you didn't know where that was. I don't think there was any pointers towards it. I went for a bit of a wander, found these things highlighted in blue. You could redo your character. You could go to your stash if there's anything in it, obviously, for your what you like to do in Destiny. I just felt it seemed very poorly put together from that point of view. It wasn't like the tower in Destiny is so well set up for where things are. This was just in crates in dark corners, and
that's part of the problem. Is the color palette in this game is?
Well, as I said, the color palette's poor,
awful,
absolutely awful. And even this is a game that's supposed to be in 4K or whatever, or even HDR, whatever its settings they've got for it. It just looked awful. I just didn't like it.
It looks muddy.
It did. It is.
It does help if you turn up the HDR resolution, though.
Yeah, I did open the field of view, but I thought, you know what? I'm not liking this. I just really. I gave it a chance, but I just felt this was. I remember Anthem. I didn't like that at all.
See, I quite liked Anthem as a game. Did you use? What do you think of the cover system? Because I thought this is just surgically removed from Gears of War.
It is Gears, but unfortunately, hopefully Gears moving forward might change their cover system. But the mechanics we use in games like Destiny now, it's old hat, and I just didn't like it.
I was just about to say, I've not tried it. I downloaded it, but I've not tried it yet. Outriders, I'm talking about. From the way you're talking about it now, I'm just getting the impression that it sounds really dated.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's not fun to play. And
no.
You know, I know we've been quite negative about it, but I found it quite fun to play, and I was playing single player. I would love to play it multiplayer to see what that's like. And I know certainly I've been talking to Alan, and he loves the game. So, you know, and I know that, you know, Evil Doff on our Facebook group, he's really into it, you know, because I keep seeing he's getting achievements popping and all that for it coming up on the Xbox app. Even now, so you know, people are enjoying it, people are playing it, but it does feel like a dated game. But
do you think, apart from my personal views, and I'm just not for me, I deleted the game. Do you think this game has got legs? Because Anthem didn't. That sort of fell by the wayside a little bit, didn't it?
Well, there was a lot of things wrong with Anthem that weren't Anthem's fault. But I really wanted Anthem to come back because I think that he did offer a lot of promise, whereas because that was more open world, whereas this is very linear, and I kind of feel that this will be one of those things of it'll go free on, you know, Game Pass, and then that'll be kind of it.
It is, isn't it? It's already on Game Pass, isn't it?
Not Game Pass, Xbox Live.
Yeah.
I think 6 months' time it'll probably be giving away Xbox Live, and then that'll be it. You won't hear about it after that. I hope I'm wrong. I seriously hope I'm wrong. But it's a fill-in game until we get the decent AAA stuff.
Square Enix, their model games in the past have not. I mean, I know Final Fantasy, for example, the last Final Fantasy I played, that was probably linear to a certain degree. But the map of the main part of the world was you could go anywhere you want. You know, obviously you could drive your car and do what you want to do.
Yeah, but the remake is very linear.
Yeah. I'm on about Final Fantasy 15. I'm on about the last game that came out.
Right, okay.
So where you get to drive a car in it and everything, and you go around the whole world and bounce around that worked fine. But yeah, I think this game needs a 2021 update for the games of now. You know, I mean, I think the Tomb Raider games are better than this, to be honest. How they put it together, but they are a little bit linear, obviously, because that's how they're built. But
the Tomb Raider games are a very much smaller environments, I feel.
Yeah, but this is supposedly a multiplayer big world that you're going to be jumping around in. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's enjoying it, good luck to them. It's, you know, it's something different for them to play, but for me, it's just not my.
I was enjoying it. I'll still play it, but it's not going to. It's not the AAA game I've been looking for to take me away from playing a load of indie games. To be fair.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's
that speaks volumes, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've got. If I look to my phone now, I've got 24 people playing Outriders at the moment that are enjoying it. So there's obviously something right there somewhere for some people. I know there's been issues with servers as well. This has been another problem.
Yeah, and I think people lost like 2 days worth of progression on it.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's not good. But I must admit, the servers have always worked every time I've logged on. Over the last couple of days, I had a little dig around with it. But, I mean, yeah, Destiny probably had a lot of these issues when it first came out. But even the original vanilla Destiny is better than that. Sorry, it was very well put together compared to that. And Bungie knew what they were doing. And Square Enix, I don't think, really know. I mean, they might prove me wrong, and it might be a great game. But if it is, good luck to them. You know, I hope it is.
I think that. Well, I think that Square Enix have done better games.
Oh, of course they have. Yeah, and I own most of them.
Yeah.
You know, Final Fantasy, the last Final Fantasy game is on. I think it's on Game Pass now, and it's amazing. I finished that game, and it's brilliant. Really is a good game. And I know some people aren't keen on Japanese RPGs, but that was fantastic. You know,
I still feel that playing Final Fantasy on anything other than a PlayStation feels wrong.
I know what you're getting from that. I do get that for a certain degree, but then I think
it's like Resident Evil as well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I had a PlayStation 1, so I've been playing all those then. But apart from that, you know, I just think now some of these games, like, you know, they're brilliant. They're well worth playing. But Square Enix don't. They still got a lot to learn on some other ideas, you know. So, yeah. Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
So, Fallout 4, I decided to start from scratch. I looked into, as I said before, last one was on before I was ill, looking into the idea of modding the game to get better visuals and everything else that you can do with this. And now we have the FPS boost and the 4K added to these games. I tweaked it around a bit more as well to suit, because there was still a mod for that, which was actually better than using the one for Microsoft. But I've swapped it around a bit. I'm stacked up with mods, and it looks amazing. I'm 36 hours into the game. I've played for a day and a half now. I've completed the main story again. I took it on a different route where I went with the synths this time instead of with the Brotherhood of Steel. And I'm in the middle of the first DLC with the Mechanist in Robotron and all that. And it's brilliant. I just love the game. It's a pick up and play, I suppose, the same way for Skyrim for yourself, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm still finding places I didn't visit in the first game.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a testament to how big this game is. And the same for Skyrim. And I've played a lot of Skyrim. I've got another modded game I've already started playing as well. And they just look brilliant. I mean, considering how old these games are.
Yeah, I think Skyrim had its 11th birthday this year, didn't it? Or
is it really? God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just keep going back to playing Fallout at the minute. I have been playing Destiny 2. I've done my grinding on that. I've just finished I've just got to 100 for this season at the minute. I've gone through the different parts of the story and just playing that when I feel like it. FIFA as well. Still playing FIFA Ultimate Team. I know we've had the problems with it in the news over the last few weeks where certain members of staff have been flogging icon cards on the cheap. Bit poor from them on that side of things, but the way I play the game in FIFA Ultimate Team, I don't have to worry about points to a certain degree to purchase. I don't know if you've done that, Mark, at all. I don't know.
Do you know, I've never got into that mode. I tried it not long, whichever year it was added. And I enjoy the career mode, just playing as your single player, and you take whichever position you want to play in the team and just persevere, trying to get, just playing good matches and trying to make yourself more valuable, get transferred, that kind of thing. work up to a team where you can actually win some
Yeah,
trophies.
I get that, but I've done that for years in FIFA.
Yeah.
And where I used to play, we used to collect cards as a kid, football cards. I don't know if you ever did all that.
Yeah,
And
that was good.
from the way that this works for that idea, I just love playing it. And I don't go online that often. Wouldn't mind actually doing some more with people I know, just to do a few friendlies.
So you're playing Ultimate Team, but you're playing offline, are you, mostly?
Yeah, I play with. There's a part just off the top of my head, I can't think what it's called now, but yeah, you can play it without playing real people.
Right.
And I've got a squad that's so huge. I mean, I've even got a few icon cards now as well. They've had their recent birthday, as you're well aware.
Yeah.
And within FIFA Ultimate Team, you can do certain things to pick up these cards. So you submit teams that you have to have requirements in, where you have to have a certain Ultimate Team player, maybe. You submit the team to get to a certain point, and I picked up Podolski recently, and he's up front with Harry Kane at the minute. He's blasting it through. But I just love playing. I've got Gary Lineker and Michael Owen in my team as well, and
Legends.
and a few great players of today as well. And I know people think this is boring, but FIFA Ultimate is like me being a kid with a car pack. Now we know about spending, as you said to Haydn, spending on car packs is a lottery in a big way. Now, I do occasionally have done it myself, the same way I would buy silver coins with Destiny to help them, if you're with me. But from this point, come midnight tonight, I should have 2 or 3 packs to open from getting to a certain point with playing FIFA Ultimate Team in the mode I like playing. And that will get me 10,000 coins on top of that, and I build them up. So when I go in the transfer market to pick up other cards I want for players I want to use. I picked up Modric pretty reasonably at the moment off the transfer market and put him in my squad as well. So if you like football from that point of view, and I think you should give it a try.
I will. I'll have to look into it, I think.
If you ever want to just go online and chat and go through it, because I'd like to try my wireless headset on chat, which I've not done yet, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I think it's just a good idea, a good way to play football.
Yeah.
You know?
I used to play FIFA online in a team now and then. Back in the day, and that was always good fun. We tried to get 11 of us together to play, so you had one player in every position, and you'd usually get at least 8 or 9. It was good fun.
Then you run around like headless chickens to a certain point because you want to go for the ball. You don't want to do your position, you know. Yeah,
you do a bit. Yeah, we had goalkeepers that used to dribble up the pitch and that kind of thing.
Then someone would do a long shot.
It's just a laugh, really.
Oh yeah, that's it. But no, I still play the game.
I just realised the one game I did get into that kind of whole pack opening system and mechanic is they did it in Plants vs Zombies. You know, when they brought out the Garden Warfare games, and you could unlock characters and get improvements. I got into that. But I've never tried it in FIFA, I wouldn't say I've never tried it. I never really got into it.
But you start with bronze and silver cards of players, and then you get the gold ones and so on and so forth. And I'll do a few screenshots of my team at some point and I'll show you. But it's good fun. I like it. It's if you still like football, even though we had a bad day today, you just sit there and play the game, and you pick up again, like the stadiums are cards as well. So you've got to get the card to have the right stadium you want.
Right.
And like that, I've got Wembley Stadium, I've got White Hart Lane, so I've got the new Spurs Stadium there. Very well recreated for it, so really good.
All good.
Love it. So I don't know what you guys know about this wireless headset, because you've probably heard some bad reports regarding this, and a few people have moaned about it. And I'm pretty happy with it for the price I paid.
How much was it?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same.
So I think it was $89.
Middling.
So middle of the road style, and we're using the Dolby Atmos app as well, which you get 6 months. I own the app anyway, so I'm not sure how that will work, but you get to use that on the headset as well. And you have people moaning about the bass as well and stuff like this. So they brought a second update to the app, same way you have your controller on there. And they tweaked that around, so I was playing with it today. So as soon as I can hit the button on the headset, put them on, it turns the Xbox on straight away, which I think is a nice little idea.
Nice, yeah.
And the app will then come up on your same as your controller does, and you can play around with that. I've not tried the mic yet because I need to test that out, because some people saying the mic isn't so good. It's a very short mic, so compared to yours there, Mark. I can't see where yours is at the minute. Yeah. So this one is probably half the length of that.
Right.
The sound for me sounds pretty good. Since I've just tested it this afternoon with tweaks on the equalizer, it does sound much better. You do get that around the ears feeling still what you get. The buds and the cups are very comfortable. So once you've actually pulled apart to your positioning, that won't change. There's not a lot of play in them, but I don't think it matters because once they're sitting on you, they're very comfortable. Compared to these, which I haven't played with these now, for probably 3 weeks, they're really good. The app, per se, I tested the app and the sound coming out is pretty good for what price you're paying. I've never had an expensive set, personally, but I'm thoroughly happy with them, with what I've played with them so far. And considering, again, nighttime gaming, I'm sure Haydn does this, don't you? You can't have your amp out there kicking out a good sound at night.
Oh, I can.
Oh, yeah, because you're in one corner of the mansion, aren't you, where everyone else is down the far side of the mansion.
Yes, I'm on the east wing.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though, don't you?
Otherwise known as a garage.
Yeah, so for me, I've got the missus upstairs above me, in the bedroom above me. I could play a game and she would hear that bass kick on the sub. But there's something else I just want to quickly mention because no one really talks about it, and that's the idea of movies. And now I've set that up. I've set the Dolby Atmos app up in 2 forms for movies and for gaming. Unfortunately, I can't do screenshots at the moment because you need to have the headset on at the same time. And I just tested it with Star Trek Into Darkness, and I was pretty impressed with the sound I was getting. Because I've not really tried playing with the slot in the slot. That weird slot you got in the front of the Xbox, I've never used it until now. So I've put a disc in 4K film in, and I was pretty impressed with the sound I was getting. I don't hear it. It's very quiet, actually. I was a bit worried that this is probably going to be a grinder because some machines have had that issue. But from that point of view, the cups over your head, you've got sound coming out, and it works well for movies. It's something I think people should have a check out as well.
It's a decent HD Blu-ray player.
It is, yeah.
Or 4K Blu-ray player, I should say.
And I've got it set up now that any 4K Blu-ray I've got that's got Dolby Atmos, we'll use that as a first option as well. And I'm going to try a few more movies out with it and see what they're like, especially some of the newer ones.
I think when I play with a headset over speakers, do you notice game sounds or movie sounds that you don't notice when you're just in kind of open air?
There are some
like more subtlety.
Yeah, there is, absolutely.
And some games are designed around that. Look at Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That is really best played with headsets.
That's right. There was a couple of games that they used to talk about headsets only, wasn't there? There was another one, but I'm pretty impressed how that works. I know there's been a lot of grief with this, and some people were unhappy with the bass, but now they've upgraded the software. You can tweak it to more of to suit you. But I just went online and had a look at a couple of people that have been putting their videos out there now to change it. Because it can be vibrating big time in your ears, and that isn't good for any bass. I know for some people it is. I haven't tried it with a phone yet, because you can have it paired to 2 things at once. So you could actually take your phone calls while playing your games as well, which is pretty good. But these aren't for music. These are for gaming and movies, So from that point of view, they're thumbs up for me, very, very much so. And I do like the idea of the cups for turning on the volume, so you're twisting the whole disc either side of it, so there's no fumbling around for buttons or for little wheels that are going to be, you're trying to forget where they are. It's very easy just to turn and tweak it for your voice chat and game chat and however you want to position it to what you're playing. But I need to try actually online.
What about muting? If you need to mute?
Yeah, they've got the idea that if you don't talk for a while, it will auto mute as well, but you can change it in the settings to how you want it as well. So, because you don't want to be hearing someone rattling a packet of crisps in the background when they're munching, do you?
No. Highly
frustrating at the best of times.
Yes, it is, Steve.
or drinking bottles of Coca-Cola. How many times have I heard a in a game?
Yeah, you probably heard it over your munching crisps.
Very true, very true. But yeah, no, I'm really pleased with them, to be honest. They are short in supply. Then I did actually lucky enough to pick them up from Game as soon as they were released to be pre-ordered. So they came out the same day straight on my lap. So yeah.
When did you get those?
Middle of March it came out.
Right, you've had them a while.
Yeah, and I just use them for nighttime now, and yeah, really chuffed. I won't do it during the day because the missus is about to scream and shout at you for something. And she go, "What was that? I didn't hear that." That'd be a good thing, though. You know?
Get you into trouble.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm really am pleased with them. I think people need to just double check, and you can't play these out of the box. You just put them in your head. You've got to actually go in there and tweak them, because otherwise you would get the wrong experience with them. You know, and for wireless, for me, they're ideal. You know, I do have I'd say I've got this set I'm using now. I've got another set which I've got as well, which I probably would need to sell again. I've got a Sony set which comes with its own little box. And I was using them for movies as well. But this one, I'm just pleased now that you got a 4K player in the Xbox, and that's all you need is this headset and the movie as well, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's me done really. That's not much more. So, Mark, what about yourself?
Yeah, so I've had a reasonably busy week, but I've still fitted a bit in. The first thing was the one I spoke about earlier. I tried loaded up the trial of Atlas, because a guy I used to work with had ploughed hundreds of hours into it on Xbox, and he loved it. It's made by the same people that made Ark Survival Evolved, and my kids play that a lot, and I've seen it, but I've never really played it myself much. We're talking the whole kind of crafting, slightly survival, open world, interactive, but Atlas, whereas Ark is kind of dinosaurs and is bedded in that genre, Atlas is pirates. So you're in an open world, kind of slightly steampunky in terms of its vehicles and weaponry. But I loaded it up and started a tutorial, and I don't know whether it's a theme for the show, but the tutorial I found didn't help a great deal, to be honest. It was telling you what to do, but not necessarily quite how to do them. So it didn't last that long with me. It looks potentially like it could be quite fun, but no, I didn't get on with it at all. And I think graphically it looks a bit dated now, like Ark does as well, really. It would be different, I guess, if you were playing on PC. But yeah, that deleted within a few hours, a bit like you and Outriders, Steve. Yeah. So then I tried, because I haven't played it since soon after launch, I tried Sea of Thieves, going with the pirate theme. And I'm pretty sure when I first booted it up all that time ago, it didn't have a huge tutorial. But you choose your character, and then it put me on a small island with my uncle or grandpa, who's a dead skeleton, telling you how to play the game, essentially. And that did click with me quite a bit.
There's a dungeon at some point, and you go into a dungeon to do a few things. I'm trying to remember now. I haven't played Sea of Thieves.
Well, the way it opened up for me this time, I don't know whether it's because I was originally playing it on Ace Plantman, and now I'm playing it on Kitchen Smith, so it's a completely new profile, like I'd never played the game before.
Yeah.
This was on a small island, and you had to go and find treasure box. You could see your slightly wrecked ship in the harbour, in the little bay area that you were around. So you'd carry out a few tasks, then he tells you to swim out to your ship, fix your ship up, and away you sail. And then I had to turn it off and do something. But the next time I booted it up, I was actually in the original village that you begin when I played it the first time round, where you go and you get voyages, go out, discover, and start from there with other players if you want.
That's really weird. I seem to remember starting that game and I was on a ship.
Well, neither of the times I've booted it up recently did I start. I didn't start on a ship. Even now, when I boot it up...
No, I don't. Even when I played in the beta, and I was playing, it was 3 or 4 of us on a boat, on a ship, sorry, and one of us was on a PC, one was on a PlayStation, one was on an Xbox, or whatever.
Yeah, it is cross-format. It's only it's not on. It's not on PlayStation.
Not PlayStation, sorry. No, it had been between PC and Xbox, sorry.
Yeah.
But we had a bit of a good laugh with that, actually, at the time. That was only in the beta.
I was just playing with randoms, but it is quite good fun. You know, you go out. It's I found it. I don't know whether we were just sailing further than perhaps we should have done for beginners, but you get some skeletons attacking you, and it's reasonably tough. You've got to make sure you have your wits about you, as it were.
I just remember having to go down to the bow into the depths of the ship to sort of put some wood up against a hole that was.
That's right. Yeah, that's the tutorial. Yeah. And then you start. Once you've done that, I started in the village where you have to go to get your void. You select a quest or board your ship, and then whoever's on board with you, you just sail out on your particular voyage if you select your voyage, and you've got maps.
You've got 5 achievements so far. Looking at this on the
I know, yeah. I'm not much into it. But,
no, what did it look like graphically? Because I remember, obviously, going back to when it first came out, it was very much Fable-like, but very.
It is. Yeah, it is still. It's the same in that sense. It's quite a charm to it. But it needs. A bit of polish wouldn't hurt, I guess.
It might have had that.
It's the whole game is quite charismatic. Really, it does draw you in reasonably well. If you could get together with some friends, it would be great fun.
Again, that's the sort of game you really need friends with it, I think, to get the first experience.
Because I was finding quite a bit of the time people aren't speaking to each other. You've got like a sort of script options that you can, or speech options on the screen you can put up saying, oh, there's an enemy over here or what have you if you need help.
Sort of the emojis you can wave your hand and say hello and stuff like that.
But they're limited as to what you can say or do. But it's quite entertaining. It's on Game Pass. I recommend just giving it a whirl.
Can you see yourself playing this for a while?
I might go back to that. Yeah, definitely. Especially if you could get a group together, or or even a couple of you and a couple of others, random people might work. You don't have to sail out on a ship. You can. I was just 3 of us. I don't know what the maximum or minimum you need. I guess you just play as friends. But it's quite entertaining.
Maybe we should all jump on and you can show us the ropes, so to speak.
It really is like nice. It is like that as well. There are elements of that. You have to set your sails, and you can change your sail angle, and
you can sing sea shanties if I remember right as well.
Yeah, that was #1 recently, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves, quite enjoyed it. Another game I downloaded because it's recently been added to Game Pass is Football Manager 21. Now, here's a story, because I downloaded this about a week ago and I was selecting it on my Xbox, booting it up, and it would crash. And then I would go back out, open out another game or another app so that it would reset it, go back into it, and it would crash. Every time. For when I was trying to open the game up, it would get to, you have to confirm the user agreement, and you just couldn't get any further. And so I tried uninstalling it, reinstalling it, and just gave up on it and played something else in the end. But I went back to it yesterday and just thought I'm just going to have a go. And it worked. So I thought that's odd. But I've been playing a bit of Football Manager, and I haven't played Football Manager for about 4 or 5 years on the Xbox.
I'm probably old. I used to play on the laptop. I used to play.
Oh yeah.
Was it Sega? I used to do it. The Sega one.
Yeah.
That was the main one you had.
Yeah, but I can see myself getting back into this as well. I mean, it is on the Xbox. It is slightly kind of clunky UI, as you'd expect. Really, you're using a controller and not a mouse. But I like the fact now that you can, I know it's been in for a while, but you can actually just designate tasks to backroom staff. So you don't have to get into all the kind of micromanagement of wages, or you can, if you want, you can do transfers, which is still obviously quite an important part.
But you can still use the scout to deal with that to a certain degree.
You can, and you can leave backroom staff to take care of contracts and things like that, all the kind of more mundane stuff, so that you can just then manage the team, which personally that's the part of it that I enjoyed most.
What's the gameplay like for when you're playing a match?
The
How's
actual
that?
match engine, it's all right. It serves a purpose.
Is it dots or is it actual players? Because I remember the time you said dots.
It is actual players,
Not the overhead style of old where you had like the dot.
It's nothing like FIFA, put it that way. But then I prefer the management sim part of Football Manager. I have tried, not recently, but only about a couple of months ago, I started a manager career in FIFA. And it's just, this is so much better than that. I did persevere for a few hours in FIFA as a manager, but it's just not, I haven't been back to it. But this is just a proper kind of manager sim.
We haven't had one for a while, have we?
Much better.
Can't remember the last time we had one on the Xbox.
No, exactly. So, I mean, you've had FIFA or nothing, really. And don't get me wrong, this would run on my PC quite happily, probably, but I just saw it and thought I would give it a whirl. But it is, once you get kind of used to moving an arrow with a stick, and you don't have to do that. They do the main kind of selections on the screen. They do allocate buttons on the controller with.
You could just go through them one by one, couldn't you?
Yeah. There are workarounds that they put in place, but it's still worth a go if you.
You could plug a mouse into your Xbox.
Yeah, I guess you could. I don't.
I know it's not a thing we do, but you can. If you wanted to go down that clicky route.
Yeah, could do, I guess. But it works as it is. That's the kind of the bottom line, I suppose. It works well enough. The management sim part is great. The engine for the matches is a little bit shonky, but but it does the job. It serves its purpose reasonably well. Another thing I played today, which I haven't picked up for a little while, it's been kind of my lockdown multiplayer game of choice, and that's Call of Duty. And I'm not a big Call of Duty fan, but this is Call of Duty World War II, and I've always quite liked the World War II shooters in Call of Duty rather than Warzone or the modern Warzone games or Black Ops. I've had those and never really got onto them. I find them just too twitchy, too fast online. I don't know whether I'm just getting old.
So, see, I've got a thing with online and COD. It seems to be more viperish, should I say, compared to some online playing games. Games you play.
Yeah, I mean, I tried Warzone late last year. I was playing Warzone, and there's just no fun in spawning and dying within
from a headshot from someone that's
and you don't even see it. Whereas I don't know whether it's just me, but I find it easier in World War II. I find it more enjoyable because of that as well. There are occasions where you get picked off within 30 seconds of spawning, but generally not. And once you start to level up a bit, it becomes more, more enjoyable then, I think.
So it's still got the old way of prestiging and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's all still there. Yeah. I
haven't played one for years now. It seems a long time since I picked up a Call of Duty.
Yeah, and you still have the supply drops and that kind of thing. But I'm much more enjoying it than Black Ops or Warzone by a big way.
Yeah, that's why I probably stick to Destiny, you see. Hayden, have you picked up a Call of Duty back in your day now or not? Have it been something you would go for?
I've got the latest Call of Duty, Black Ops 4 on PC. The problem is that by the time I remember, I need to download the update, and then by the time the update's downloaded, I don't have time to play it. So, I just end up going round and round the merry-go-round with that one.
I mean, we spoke last week about how big a size Warzone is now. It's crazy. As a game, with all the updates and extra content, it's just crazy.
Is that a hindrance then more now? Is it with these updates?
Yeah, it's going to be that way for a long time now, isn't it, really? Because the thing is, with the higher resolutions comes higher resolution textures, and they take up a lot of room.
Yeah. But other than that, the atmosphere of these Football Manager and Call of Duty, I've just been playing my staple games. FIFA, PGA always gets a shout.
Well, if you want some achievements, more achievements, then The ones I've been getting, I've been in Ultimate Team, where
Right.
the ones you've been getting are in the other part of the game.
Yeah, definitely on FIFA, because I've hardly tried Ultimate Team.
So I'm on 16% on the achievements I've got. I've only got 8, but they're all basically to do with. I think they're basically all to do with FIFA Ultimate.
Yeah,
There's an incentive for more achievement points.
I will have to look into it, I think.
Anyway, are we done? Because it's getting quite late. We've got to move on.
It is, yeah. And we're only a third of the way through the show.
In quest of a better life,
Right, Haydn, off you go.
Okay, so
What we got?
this week, there's some interesting stuff about Georgia being boycotted by Mark Hamill, James Mangold, and also Ron Perlman as well, because of the new law about voting in Georgia. So just thought that was an interesting news piece. Other than that, all quiet on the Western Front. There's a new clip being dropped for Black Widow as well.
Oh,
new trailer. Yeah.
There's a new trailer for Spiral, actually, if you're interested, which I was. Which is, I think, coming out in May now. So hopefully get to see this latest iteration of the Saw franchise.
Yeah.
Fresh rock.
Blu-ray and DVD release-wise, the only one that I really thought spotted in there was Clone Wars Season 6, The Lost Missions. Is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD. I don't know if either of you two guys saw anything else that's in the lists.
No, I picked up a couple recently, but they're not in the list.
No. Chart-wise, at number 5, new entry, we've got Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984. Number 4, up from 55, is Blade Runner 2049. At number 3, re-entry is Dawn of the Dead. At number 2, a re-entry is Batman. And at number 1 is Wonder Woman 1984.
I haven't picked it up yet. I'm hesitant to do that at the minute on 4K. I don't know if any of you guys have picked that one up or Haydn did.
It was all right. It was nothing special. I'm just going to wait until I can get the 2 Wonder Woman movies on 4K, for 20 quid.
I mean, I've already got Wonder Woman. That's why I've played that to death, to be honest. I have that on 4K, and I think the last 4K I purchased was Aquaman.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even got Joker. I've got the digital copy of that, a legit digital copy, not an pirated version of it. But I've not got the movie on 4K UHD, which is ironic considering it's my favourite one out of all of the DC movies.
Yeah,
of late.
I picked up a couple of films recently, so I did actually. As much as I've had the DVD for so long, because I've been going back and watching old sci-fi B movies. So I did pick up for quite cheap the Day the Earth Stood Still on Blu-ray, and the only reason I did that for was maybe just for the quality, a bit more extras as well. So it's just a passion of mine that movie is. It's one of my favourites.
I've got THX 1138 to watch down here on Blu-ray.
And so I also picked up a couple you might know. What was it again? So I picked up This Island Earth.
Yeah.
An old 1950s sci-fi classic. And the other one, John, would I just stand up for because I forgot what it was called, if I can find it. Where is it? It's in here. Oh yeah, it came from outer space, which is another black and white sci-fi 50s classic. I mean, I did watch them the other night as well. One with the giant ants, but something I've been after for a while, and it's only just due to someone else actually talking about it. And I actually picked it up. I've picked up Luci Fulci's The New York Ripper, which might not be your cup of tea, guys, but I'm looking forward to diving into this. It's quite an old Italian movie, but I do love the Italian horror, so one to watch for. I definitely recommend it for any of you guys. Has anyone got Amazon Prime at the minute?
Yeah.
It's on there, I think, at the moment. So go and check it out and tell me what you think.
Right after the show, I'll be all over it.
Yeah, you'll be all over like a rash.
Like a plate of spaghetti.
Yeah, that's it.
Spaghetti horror.
Oh, I just love Italian. It's brilliant. Anyway, we're going to quickly brush over something. What we watched.
Go over. Or should we just go to question? The question scene.
We can just say that some of that
Moving on.
can't we?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so let's do the listeners' questions.
John, what's happening to us?
Mark going to start? 'Cause I think it's probably about right. You should do.
I can do that. So, Facebook questions. I didn't submit any this week. Sorry, guys.
You got no need
Yeah.
to.
um,
So you're not going to start
questions.
going Ace Plant Man, Ace Plant Man, Ace Plant Man this time.
I couldn't do that to Lee Doherty, who started this week. He asks, what's your views on the impending closure of the PS3, PSP and Vita online stores?
Well, I mean, we talked about it last week,
We did.
didn't we? But I think now that I know you can still download your old games from the stores, I don't have a problem with that. However, it kind of feels like a little bit stupid because if people are still using them, Sony's really closing off a revenue stream.
I think
What's not going to cost them a lot of money to keep going.
unless you actually saw the figures, though, I can't imagine there are many people using them, surely.
I mean, how about the Vita side of things? I mean, I know there's a few people still have them and still use them.
I still do.
But haven't they been sort of jailbroken and hacked by now? Using for other purposes, perhaps?
Yep. And
Well,
that's-
some people's have, mine hasn't. I still use all mine legitimately and go on the store and
yeah.
you know, it was only 4 or 5 months ago that I bought something on the PSP.
It's fair.
Yeah, I'd say, are they cutting their nose off to spite their faces? Is that how we're looking at it?
But there's supposed to be the PSP2 coming out as well, isn't there?
Oh, really?
There's been talk
Really?
of it. Yeah, there's been talk of it.
Wow.
That would be something. Well, whether or not that's right or not, I don't know. I don't know if they got the focus on something like that when they got other things to deal with.
It's a normal internet gossip, you know, so, and half of the time it ends up being correct and half of the time it ends up being a load of rubbish. And I don't know, you know, it was a couple of months ago, everybody was talking about there's a new PSP coming along, you know, loads of sites were saying it, and it's all gone quiet, but that's what happens. You get these rumours, it goes quiet, and then the next thing you know is they go, ha-ha, and here's a new console.
Competitor for the Switch, maybe?
Yeah, well,
With
Nintendo's-
interaction and your PS5?
yeah.
They've always been a favourite of that, haven't they?
Definitely.
Remote play and that kind of thing. Who's Jason Toon?
Haydn?
Yep, so another hypothetical question. You're given carte blanche to make any video game or movie you want. What would you make?
Well, I would probably go on the Bethesda route here, but as we know, there is going to be a Fallout TV series coming out. I'm saying it right now. It's been rumored to be in production. That would be one of my first thoughts. But I still want to see. I still want to see Bioshock in some shape or form. I just love the idea of that sort of environment.
As a movie, you mean?
Yeah, and another game as well. I'd
Series.
love. It's just a great environment to be in. If it could be done right, the stories could be right. I think that'd be pretty good. Might be, you know, I don't know if it would be too linear to have something like that, but I'm sure there's plenty of scope for the story based on that sort of environment. Anyone else?
I would say my answer would probably already be in development, but I've got to go with Elder Scrolls 6. The next instalment of that particular series.
Yeah.
I think as a game. I mean,
Yeah, that's a bit behind the other games, isn't it? For your release, that's a little way off yet.
yeah. But
I mean, for movies and stuff like that, we had Game of Thrones, so you've got your dragon fix there,
yeah, it's true.
rightly or wrongly for some people. It did fall flat on its arse at the end, but yeah.
I think if you could make a Game of Thrones RPG, that would be quite good as a game. And as a movie, I would
Isn't
like...
that Skyrim already, though, to a certain degree?
I was going to say a similar thing, yeah.
yeah, I was actually thinking in that world, though,
Yeah.
rather than the Elder Scrolls sort of world. So, because there is a slight difference in terms of Elder Scrolls to Skyrim.
We're talking
Oh, sorry,
factions.
yeah.
We are talking factions within an environment, aren't we? It's slightly different.
Dragons.
So, yeah.
Well, there's less emphasis on the dragons, isn't there? Because there's only
There is,
3
yeah.
in that. Unless, depending upon where you sat it in the Game of Thrones world, because if you sat it 1,000 years before the adventures in Westeros, then there would be loads of dragons. But so that's a possibility. But what I would the game I would really like to do is have a decent Star Trek game.
It's never happened, does it?
No. I know that a lot of people like Star Trek Online, but I don't want something with a subscription model that comes with it. I made it just like a one that you can pick up off the shelf and play. So the last good Star Trek games were the point and click adventures, really, and they were I did enjoy them. So there's that, but the other side that I would like to do is have a film of Mass Effect, and I would go on time travel and get Michael Ironside when he was in V and have him as Shepard.
Your perfect Shepard.
Yeah.
He would work out as my femme shep, though.
Yeah, but I would have a male Shepard, though. That's the thing. If I was going femme shep, then, I would have Scarlett Johansson because I'd be directing the movie.
We were here last week, Haydn.
We were. I think we're going to go again by the questions as well. By Richard Mortlock's next question.
Yeah, well, sorry, okay. So, Richard, so I'll go with this. So Richard has been saying to us, which superhero from either DC or Marvel Universe would you like to be your best friend? And also, as a side story to that one, which superhero would you like to be having your sexy time with?
I love the way that Marc at the moment is turning bright red.
God, your head's like a beacon.
Has a brake light suddenly gone off in front of your face, Marc?
Right, come on, let's be honest. Come on, let's get this out here.
Well,
is that what she said?
I got one. Should I go first then? Should I?
Go on then.
I'm going to have the same person for both parts of the question, and I'm going to have the Invisible Woman and Jessica Alba for me. Totally on with that one.
Well, it's got to be Black Widow, isn't it?
Oh, that's boring.
I'll tell you what.
That's what
I mean, Scarlett Johansson, and I would not be bored. I can tell you that now.
There wouldn't be much boring about that.
I know.
I'd be knackered, but I wouldn't be bored.
You'd have to have a spleen.
No, I wouldn't.
There are pills.
I think actually, out of the two, I think for me personally, if you go and watch that movie she was in, which isn't Fantastic Four, where they were diving for pirate treasure. Can't remember what it's called now. Not Deep Blue Sea, it was a movie. But Jessica Alba, I think, might pick it for me.
Okay, and who would you? And she'd be your best friend as well.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
Got it, Marc.
Okay, Neil McBain.
No, you haven't answered the question yet.
I don't know. Black Widow.
For both.
Well, why not? I don't know. A best friend. Sexy time is Black Widow, but a best friend, Tony Stark, would be quite a cool guy to have as a good mate, wouldn't he?
Do you know what I would have answered? It would either have been, well, it would definitely have been Black Widow. There's no question about that. But on the other hand, for the best friend, it would have either have been Tony Stark or Thor, because either way, you could have a really good chat about Black Widow afterwards.
I don't know. I think, it's best friend Tony Stark, isn't it? He's got all the tech and the gadgets, and
but you could go out drinking with Thor.
And he's got, and he got the lead singer from Coldplay misses as well.
You can then just have him threaten them.
Go on, Chris, show me your hammer.
If I had a hammer, of course.
Yeah. Right, shall I do Neil McBain now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, Neil asks, what is your favourite video game movie?
Is there a favourite video game movie?
Yeah, I know.
Is the one that actually works, first of all?
I'm trying to think. I mean, is it?
So I haven't seen this. So I'll put this out there. So what was the last Tomb Raider movie like? Was that any good?
I haven't seen it either.
I didn't rate it.
I would like to see it, actually, out of curiosity.
If you didn't rate it, what did you think of the previous Tomb Raider movies?
I was all over. There was like a rash.
Angelina.
Yeah.
I thought the first one was all right.
Yeah.
The first one was with Craig. Wasn't James Bond in it?
Daniel Craig.
But
the second one, I didn't think was as good, but
they both lacked substance.
But don't all video game movies lack that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that they are, by their nature, they don't work very well because they lack the substance. Which is why I think a game based on something with a lot of substance in it as a game in itself Because let's face it, Tomb Raider doesn't have a lot of substance. You know, it's Indiana Jones with a female character.
Hang
normally.
up. Can I say, actually, I want to put Resident Evil in there, please. I think they work very well.
Yes, but they didn't work very well as
They did, honest, trust me. I watched every one of those millions of times. I think the first one, which was based on a mansion into the Hive, which is like the game, was that that was more based on something very similar.
Yeah.
And obviously they expanded out into the universe of where even the second one started to have other characters from the video games. Even some of the later ones as well did.
But they didn't follow the video games.
No, they never do, because sometimes there's not enough story, I don't think, even in a video game, that could warrant that time. If they're going to pan that, and the screenplay of it is not going to be long enough, is it?
No.
I think it's easier to span large amounts of time in a movie than it is in a video game as well, really. I think video games tend to happen over shorter amounts of time, so I don't think you're necessarily going to get that.
I mean, you've had games that are filmed that are more character-based on a point where, like, I haven't seen Sonic the Hedgehog, whatever that was, but I'm sure you did, Haydn, didn't you? Actually,
to be fair, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie was okay. It wasn't, it's not the work of Shakespeare by any stretch of the imagination, but as a video game movie, it was one of the better ones. And I would actually say, and I know that it gets slated, and I know that people hate it and don't like it, but actually I quite enjoyed the Assassin's Creed movie. But I love Assassin's Creed, so...
Well, yeah, same way I love Resident Evil.
But I love the Resident Evil movies as well.
Yeah, they really worked for me, really did. And I know they're going to be rebooting them at some point.
See, I think that they do work, but I think that they work as standalone. They have the same characters, and the same basic premise, but they're not in the same universe as the game is.
Well, yeah, because it's Raccoon City, wasn't it? So it was in the same universe.
No, it's like like you've got in the Flash and Supergirl weren't in the same universe; they were in different dimensions. That's what I mean. They're the same scenario, but the history isn't shared between them.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Is that they have a common base, and then they sprout off in their own directions, and they don't cross.
Unless it's a different universe, like I know, the comic book for Flash. That Batman was him in the comics, but that was different scenario, wasn't it?
If you could cheat slightly on that question, I would say I quite enjoyed the Tron and Tron Legacy games.
Yeah.
Movies, rather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought Tron Legacy was quite a good movie, I thought.
Well, if you think about it, it's the movie of Light Cycle, effectively. So then it was a good game. A movie of that game.
Expanded on massively.
Yeah, massively.
Considering now it was like, say it's not even actually a reboot, is it? But it's trying to follow the story after the event.
It did, yeah.
It did,
I remember seeing Tron Legacy, and I know that a lot of people didn't like that, and I thought that was a fantastic movie, especially in the way that Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
They made younger, as a younger Flynn, but he wasn't Flynn. And it was fantastic the way they did that.
Well, when they did it, because it was character clue, isn't it?
But we hadn't seen that at that time. We've seen anti-aging stuff now all the time. But when that happened, that was really revolutionary.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it was intended, but I liked the fact that when you were watching Legacy, there was always that kind of, you could see almost that it was not the real Flynn as well. There was that kind of, yeah. And I don't know whether that was just the limit of the technology at the time, or whether that was how they intended it to be, for him to actually look slightly fake as well.
I think whatever way it worked.
Yeah, very much so.
It looked like him, but it didn't look like him.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look real, but that was the whole point. That's why it worked. That's why Princess Leia at the end of Rogue One doesn't work.
No.
Say that again?
That's why Princess Leia at the end of Rogue One doesn't work. Because the Princess Leia model, even much more so than the Tarkin model, doesn't really hit that mark in terms of realism.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Tarkin looked more real.
I'm just browsing just to put my brain into gear for some of this, but I actually think I enjoyed the Silent Hill movies. I think they worked because that really, you felt like that game environment. I don't know if any of you guys have seen those movies at all.
I haven't.
I have.
And they're worth a watch.
What would be really good as a horror, how about an Alan Wake movie?
Yeah, I mean, we're hopefully going to be seeing a second game from all reports from Remedy at the minute. But yeah, that'd be nice. I think, what was your worst video game movie? I could think of mine now while looking at it. But
Bob Hoskins one.
yes,
The Mario Brothers, yeah.
It's just about the worst movie of all time.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell you what I'm looking forward to is the latest Mortal Kombat movie. The trailer for that looks wicked. I don't know if you're not a fan of Mortal Kombat, it might not float your boat, but check the trailer out for that one. I think that looks pretty good.
I mean, did you see Rampage with The Rock?
No, I didn't watch that film. What's that like?
It was forgettable. Yeah.
Was that actually based on the games then?
Yes.
Where you have creatures destroying cities?
Yes.
That's crazy. How'd you make a movie out of that?
And unfortunately, the latest movie came out. That was a bit. I don't know if it fell flat. It's got a 2.5 stars here, but Monster Hunter.
All right.
Yeah, that was supposed to be rubbish. Doom back in 2005 at the time was quite good.
Oh, but Dwayne Johnson, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, that was.
And Carl Urban in that one.
Yeah. And what about
Max Payne?
Yeah, I've got one here that it's not based on the game, but it's about that idea. The film Gamer, remember that?
No.
That was 2009 with Gerard Butler.
Don't remember that one.
Right.
Yeah, so in the future, a mind-controlling game, death row convicts are forced to battle out in a Doom-type environment.
I guess
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, I guess you could also say Ready Player One. It's quite a video game-heavy movie.
Yeah.
It's inspired by rather than
it's
based on, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Because
Features
it's based on a lot of
all
other
the
pop
characters
culture.
are there, aren't they?
But as with other pop culture, what about? I mean, there was a Wing Commander movie that had Freddie Prinze Jr. instead of Mark Hamill playing like the Maverick kind of role, and there was also Warcraft.
Yeah,
the
but
2016
I'm just looking
movie.
at the top 10 list here. So what about this one that Haydn saw? I wasn't my cup of tea, but maybe I should see it at some point. But Detective Pikachu.
That was all right.
That was more of a comedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was not like a
video
kids kind of comedy.
Yeah.
There was a Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time as well. That was another
Jake
one.
Gyllenhaal, isn't it, Prince of Persia?
Yeah.
Wasn't he also Assassin's Creed movie? Was that Jake Gyllenhaal?
It was Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender, yeah.
There was a Far Cry movie as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Aren't we are going to see, aren't we, talking of Sony for a change, aren't we going to be seeing Uncharted at some point?
Yes, because that's
Tom Holland
doing that. There was Need for Speed as well with Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Prince of Persia?
Yeah, I just mentioned that one.
Did you? I didn't.
There's the Hitman movie as well.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the one that there was a movie that was actually made to go with a game because that was Final Fantasy Kingsglaive, which filled out more of the story.
What was the, I think it was 360 gen.
You're on about Remedy, aren't you?
The game that came out that was made to go with a series, sci-fi game. And they were talking about influences plot twists in the series would also influence the game or the other way around.
One that Remedy did. Can't get the name of it now. It's going to kill me.
Defiance?
Yes, it was.
It called Defiance?
It was Defiance because I
bought that.
You bought the game and then you were supposed to be able to interact with the characters, although I never
That's
found
right,
them.
yeah.
But then you had the one that Remedy did, which you actually had cut scenes that were like little mini TV programs cut between the actual game itself.
Quantum Break.
Yeah.
Which that was heavy on the old download section. Because you had the guy in that was in Destiny, didn't you? Doing the voice of Zavala.
Yeah, but you also had the guy who played like the X-Men Iceman sort of character as well. Yeah. And he's been in other stuff as well, hasn't he?
Okay.
We do Paul Wilson?
I do Paul Wilson because I think the last one's going to be more for Haydn, I think, basically, the last question. So Paul Wilson says, what was the last game that you were surprised to find you liked?
I would say for me that's got to be the Falconeer quite recently. I was quite surprised by that, and it was reasonably enjoyable.
I can't think of one.
I can't think of one either.
It happens.
Getting old, going senile. I think that's what it is.
Dementia, mate. That's what it is.
The game of life.
I'm just scrolling through my list to see what games I've played that I thought I really quite enjoyed that.
What about Outriders, Haydn? You said that earlier, didn't you? Despite everything that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I suppose from that perspective, despite all of its flaws, I actually quite enjoy playing that. So yeah, Outriders.
Okay, do you want to finish with Craig's question then? Because I think this is me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
do you have any retro consoles, gaming computers that you don't have and would like to now have? So he's picked the Vectrex. Love the machine. My previous one broke, and with the prices rising all the time, just had to bite the bucket.
You see, we've had this come out now where we've had these mini versions of the PlayStation and different machines, and they've all been a little bit of a letdown because the games you want sometimes aren't really on them, or it's just a quick fix, isn't it?
I think the problem with those machines, though, is there's no flexibility in terms of what you can play on them. You have what you have. I know they probably have been hacked by someone somewhere.
Especially the PlayStation version.
To put other ROMs on there. But as it is out of the box, you have those games, and if you want to play something else, you're stuck, aren't you?
I think consoles like that are okay as long as they've got the games on that you want.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some games I think you'd like to go back to, maybe. I mean, I'd love to go back to the PlayStation with the X-Files game. Again, this was from what you talked about earlier with that last game where you got the movie interaction.
Yeah, I played that on the old PlayStation.
That was pretty good.
It was, yeah.
Even though it was you would go through the door and you would see the scene. Obviously, nowadays they're much more complex, and you're actually recording and multiple times of video scenes that get obviously changed by alteration by what the player wants to do. But I don't see why they couldn't actually bring back the X-Files and do that in that sort of scenario.
No.
But the original game I loved it to death, that one.
Looking at the question, I think the retro console that I don't have in the loft that I wish I did would probably be, I think it would be an early Sega. Something like the Master System or the Mega Drive.
I gave that away. I gave that away to some.
I never had them, actually.
Yeah.
I had a Genesis or Dreamcast as it's known here, isn't it? But I still have got that in the loft. But I never had a Master System or a Mega Drive.
Yeah, God, did I play some games on that? Like
I know they're good machines.
The Mortal Kombat was awesome on that. That was like, wow, didn't believe that. And Raiders, there was a Raiders of the Lost Ark game I think we played on there. Alien games.
I think that the Genesis, not the Genesis, the Dreamcast, was a machine that was really well ahead of its time.
I agree, yeah.
And it had some fantastic games on it. And I mean, I had ones with the gun, and I had the Sega Bass Fishing. Do you have a Dreamcast? Did you say, Mark?
Yeah, I've still got it in the loft.
Yeah. So have you got Sega Bass Fishing?
I don't think so. Couldn't you get it with a reel?
Yeah, and I had the reel controller as well. Yeah, and it was like what I always remember about that was how so excited and out of character it would get because you were fishing. Because as soon as you started playing, it would go fish.
Yeah,
really loud.
Fish on. Yeah,
and it was sort of like, this isn't Mortal Kombat. It's fishing. It's supposed to be relaxing, and that game was anything but relaxing to play.
And the music, I seem to remember, was really hyper as well. Wasn't it?
Did they have a Nintendo version of that at some point as well?
There were similar games on most machines, I think, but
did
nothing
Nintendo
quite
have a peripheral that was like a fishing rod, though?
I think that the Switch one had like a cardboard version of it, on that cardboard stuff that they produced. A couple of years ago.
Going back to what you said, Steve, didn't they have? I think they brought out pretty much every peripheral going for the Wii, didn't they? The original Wii.
Yeah, I think they did.
So there's probably something for it on that.
Yeah,
or similar.
I miss the light gun games. That's what I miss.
Yeah, very much so. So even on the original PlayStation, Time Crisis, and what was the? They had a Resident Evil light gun game as well, didn't they?
House of the Dead or something?
House of the Dead, yeah. I've got on Steam. I've got Typing of the Dead. So instead of shooting or using your mouse, you have to type the word that's in on there. But by the time you started to get words like stewardesses, trying to type that while the zombie's coming at you is a little bit intense.
Anyway, are we done?
I think we're done.
Well, we're done.
Okay, cool. So, Haydn, do you want to start?
Okay, so for me, it's HERJ UK on absolutely everything apart from, that's PSN, Xbox Network, Steam, all of that sort of stuff. And then on Epic, it's Pop Culture Gamers.
Mark?
I am on Twitter, I'm Ace Plantman. On Instagram, I am Kitchen Smith with an underscore either end. You can email me on kitchensmith, mark at kitchensmith.co.uk, and I spell my Mark with a C, not a K. And on Xbox, I'm Kitchen Smith.
Okay, so Instagram, Stevo764. I think the same for YouTube as well. I can't remember now, but anyhow. PSN ID, the real Steve07, even though I didn't get on there very often. I had a couple of friend requests recently. I'm not sure if they're dodgy ones or not, but do apologise if that's not the case. And Xbox is Steve07. And Twitter is the same, so that's about it.
Don't forget the show one, Steve. You could do them this time.
Oh, sorry, I haven't seen. Where are they? At the bottom there.
They're at the bottom of the same show.
Yeah, so Twitter, Pop Culture Gamer. Sorry, I'm just not used to this podcasting lark.
After
Twitter,
5
Pop
years.
Culture Gamer. The Facebook group we have, Pop Culture Gamers as well. We've had a couple of people join recently as well. Anything else have I missed there, or have we got anything else?
Inquiries at podcast at popculturegamers.co.uk. And don't forget the website, anchor.fm/popculturegamers.
Which is
Yes,
new, isn't it?
yes, because we've changed hosts.
Okay, so it's a good night from me.
And a good night from me.
And a good night from them.
Good night.
Good night.
Cheers, guys.